The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations present Patrick Wall and the Delete Everything Theater on the air with Alien Invasions. Ladies and gentlemen, the director of the Delete Everything Theater and star of these broadcasts, Patrick Wall.
Yay! Welcome, everybody, to Delete Everything. I'm Patrick Wall, and I am joined today by my co-host,
Riley Bowen.
Hey, that's Riley.
Although today, I believe we are switching things up a
Today,
little
it's
bit.
kind of the other way around.
Yeah.
Riley is taking the lead on this.
And I am drunk with power.
And I'm just going to sit back here and just do everything I can to derail him and giggle a lot. That's
well, so you're doing your job. You're doing my bit.
That's how I do it. Yeah.
Listen, that's my bread and butter there. Okay?
Giggle and be disruptive, baby. That's all I got to do tonight.
The reason that I'm taking point on this episode is I participated in an event for the 2024 total solar eclipse in Carbondale, Illinois, which is an area of complete totality, and I got to work in an event that was like a science expo. And, I get to hobnob with some scientists and see some very cool projects and projections and little things on different outer space-related efforts, including a lot of NASA-related projects. There were a bunch of guys from NASA, including the head of the Solar Science Division. He and I hit it off pretty well.
That's cool.
We're buddies now. His name's...
Yeah, you guys
Mike,
are good
Jim?
friends, obviously.
He was wearing a blazer.
Best friends. Old Mike Jim.
I don't know, a bunch of fucking nerds. But I, got to participate in all this hullabaloo and run a couple of programs for some people visiting this expo, and then I actually got to witness a complete solar eclipse in totality. And let me just say, aside from being absolutely beautiful, like unspeakably, like one of the most incredible things you'll ever see on Earth. It's funny, but like from Earth, one of the coolest things you will ever fucking see.
It's coming from a guy with a daughter.
Yeah, no, it was better than her. It was better than seeing the eclipse was more awe-inspiring than the birth of my child. That's I don't know how to say that. There's
no way to.
It's
save
fucking
yourself.
true. I mean, babies are ugly and gross.
There's
and
no
goopy.
way to save yourself.
I like the kid.
Yeah,
But
she's
just
gonna
as a
listen to this
baby, I was
one
like,
day.
ew. Lumpy heads. But seeing that was really, really cool. But it also was associated with this really strange, primeval kind of terror in a way. And there were 100,000 people watching this in the same area that I was. There was literally a stadium of people that were oohing and eyeing over the course of the hour it took for the fucking totality to hit. They're like playing music and shit. They played, fucking Sunshine of Your Love and Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Don't Fear the Reaper.
Rocket Man. But as the eclipse like really got towards the darkest point, I think that everyone was a little nervous because it's obviously a bunch of scientists and science enthusiasts and people who are really looking forward to like a really cool, one with everything sort of scientific time. Mm-hmm. But like, there's like a green comet that's rumored to be in the area. You can see Venus during the totality, and you kind of get this fucking lizard brain sort of ape man kind of like, what if the aliens?
What if the
aliens show up? And like, I kept thinking, like, man, 1,000 years ago, if this happened, I would have killed the nearest person to me, which was my mother.
But
I would
really
have
would have taken
I
very
just
little.
grabbed a rock and been like, it's the fucking end times. It's
your
going
turn.
down.
It's your fault.
Like I'm just a caveman, frightened and confused by this strange event.
Is that a Phil Hartman reference?
Yeah, it's unfrozen caveman lawyer.
Yeah,
I'm just a caveman, frightened and confused by this strange metal bird. Why don't you give me another Mai Tai, darling? But really, like, there is something there, and I could hear people around me, like, murmuring. There was a lady sitting just, because I was just on the steps of the Southern Illinois University.
Uh-huh.
And there was a lady right behind me, couldn't have been older than like 25, who was super enthusiastic the whole time. Mm-hmm. And then as the totality approached, like, she was quiet for a while, and then I heard her say just like, I actually don't fucking like this at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So she's like, this is really freaking me out. I'm really uncomfortable right now. And her friends are like, yeah, dude, me too. Like, for real. And I was even kind of like, yeah, this is kind of fucked up. Like,
That's fucking wild.
I've never seen it. It's like not a great feeling to watch it because it's like this impending thing. It is cool. It all around. Great
I don't know
thing.
that I've ever seen a full.
It's fucking bonkers.
I've seen like
looks,
probably 70%, but I don't.
It looks like every piece of art or like logo you ever saw that's a fucking eclipse. Like it's crazy. It's a complete black circle with just a ring of light around it.
That's wild.
And it's dark everywhere and it's cold. Fucking the temperature drops like crazy.
Yeah.
Like wind picks up. Birds start freaking the fuck out. It was like biblical shit. It was really, really crazy. And it really got me to understand how like, was it Columbus, I think, that like tricked some natives on an island into like delaying his execution.
Sounds like some fucked up Columbus shit.
Yeah, or like in general, a lie. But like he could like read the star chart, so he showed his supremacy. But like, yeah, if somebody told me, like, hey, back the fuck up, or I'll blot out the sun, and I was like, yeah, whatever, dickhead. And then they pointed, and fucking eclipse happened. I'd be like, all right, well, this is a god. This is a god.
Have you ever read the book Nightfall?
No.
Good book.
I've read the comic book Nightfall about Batman's fall from grace after Bane breaks his back.
This is a novel that was.
He's replaced by the bounty hunter Azazel.
Well, this book was written by Isaac Asimov, so close. Co-written Isaac Asimov and a guy named Robert Silverberg, I think. Anyway, it was co-written from a short story that one of the two of them had written, and centers around, well, very brief synopsis. It's a planet that has like, I want to say maybe 4 different suns. So there's constantly, and some of them shine brighter, some of them shine, but there's constant light. There's always, there's no such thing as darkness. And so
starring Vin Diesel.
It becomes that you want to know that might have been the fucking
also Alien 3.
Was there no sunlight in Alien 3?
Only sunlight. Everything's underground.
There was only sunlight. Oh yeah, that's right. But anyway, so and then every however many years, there's this cosmic event where all 4 of the suns are on one side of the planet, and so the other side experiences full darkness, and it's like a whole fucking day of darkness. And
that's when you kill everybody.
People just the some of the scenes in the book when like during nightfall are like, so it's separated into like dusk, nightfall, and dawn. And those are the 3 parts. So some of the parts in like during dawn too, because what happens is the sun comes out and so many people are just psychologically broken from like 12 straight hours of darkness and they're just done. And it's a really fucking cool book.
That would make a lot of sense because like they probably wouldn't have lighting instruments of any kind.
Yeah.
They'd have no like.
No, they have
lamps and shit.
They have small lamps and shit like that. But what's funny is that so the way the book is written, there's like one of the main characters is a psychologist who the book starts with like this World Fair type thing, and one of the rides is literally just a tunnel with no light, and people are coming out of it, and
like,
it's like
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's like 3 minutes down, 3 minutes on the ride of darkness. And people are coming out of it and having to be fucking committed because they're going fucking batshit. And so it starts off with this psychiatrist who goes and he's got to do the ride, and it's like him explaining how fucking reticent he is to get like just the fear just getting on, and then as he's going through, so freaking out.
Along with the 4 suns, the planet is filled with pussies.
Yeah. So, but then while that's going on, there's like another character who's an archaeologist, and they're doing an archaeological dig, and then there's another one who's an astronomer, and he's finding out that like this like law, this physics law that like one of his mentors was the one who came up with it, and he's finding anomalies and trying to figure out.
Like the movie Amelie?
Anomaly.
Yeah, they find like a DVD.
One Amelie. Yeah.
Like a DVD of Amelie?
Yeah.
It's a good tie-in.
So, and then there's this religious group too. So what ends up happening is that all these main characters, all of their fields of expertise end up sort of colliding. Like the archaeologists, they end up finding like some ruins somewhere where they didn't expect there to be any ruins. And it's like almost perfectly like each ruin is built on top of the next. And they're like the same exact number of years apart.
Oh, so it's like you can depict when the fucking society is going to collapse.
Every
based
single time
specifically
it just burns itself to the fucking ground.
That's fun.
And so and then so the anomalies that this astronomer guy is finding end up tying into, they end up realizing, shit, the suns are all going to line up and they're going to take a loop around the planet all lined up with one another. Everybody who's on the opposite side of the suns is going to experience, however long of darkness. And
so it's going to be dark on one side of the planet and the other side of the planet's going to fucking burn.
And then
everyone dies of skin cancer.
Throughout all of this, there's this this religious group that apparently just has like millenniums of text about this happening. So they're predicting this big like world-ending event and trying to get people to repent and join us and this and that and the other thing. And it's just because they know they've got like ancient texts of this happening over and over and over again in however many 3,000 year cycles or whatever.
Speaking of religious groups, actually, at this the event at the eclipse, so I was doing this whole fucking thing and it's like a big dome. We all had booths and stuff. I was doing something about geodesic domes. Don't worry about it. But we step out for...
You had some small child crammed into one.
Well, the idea is that, there's a museum in that town that is dedicated to the work of Buckminster Fuller, the scientist, physicist, architect, the guy who built the golf ball at fucking Epcot. And he built that out of triangles because triangles are strong. So you can make big round objects out of triangles and they'll be infinitely stronger than they would be if you just made like a regular circle.
I got you.
And I was like showing that to these kids by making triangles out of rolled paper, taping them together, and like, hey, look, this sheet of paper becomes this like rigid structure, and then the rigid structure goes into a dome, and then you can actually fucking wear it as like a turtle shell or whatever kids are doing. It was cool. Regardless, we took a break, like 2-hour break to go out for the eclipse. Watched the whole thing. It's absolutely mind blowing, truly beautiful, and I think my favorite part I actually caught on film, which is cool. When the totality, because you could just look at the fucking totality, take your glasses off, look at the shit, and like you catch it with your phone.
Yeah.
And I caught the moment that the moon moves out, and you can see like the waves of light radiation coming out from around it, and just wow, and it's instantly daytime again.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Fuck, that's cool." And then within like 20 seconds of everyone being like, "Oh, hey, the sun." It's like, okay, well, I guess we can go back about our day because we just watched this fucking thing happen on the first that we don't have to...
That feels like probably the weirdest part.
That's when you're like, yeah, all right, well, I guess we're done. It's still happening. It's still like the moon's still like kind of in front of it, but everyone's like, well, I guess we should start driving.
I never thought about this, but that seems like that's probably got to be the weirdest part is like you have this whole day of, or, however long of preparing, and then it happens, and then you're like transported into this weird, surreal, like you said, now
really
it's
crazy.
dark and the temperature drops and the wind picks up and animals are flipping out. And then that happens for 3 minutes and then we're back to daytime.
And the light comes out and it's like, there's still the moon's still in front of the sun. If you put your cool like blocker glasses on and look, you'll still see it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's pretty much over.
Right. Everybody watched it do it incoming. They don't want to watch it
right after that. Everyone's like, all right, I'll pack my fucking lawn chairs up and get the kids in the van, whatever. Because there's a bajillion people in this town, like all across the entire swath of the country that this was happening, from like northern Michigan down through Ohio. I was in Illinois. It's this weird, like kind of like windy up and down path for some reason. I think because of elevation. It's like people are traveling from all over the world to see this shit. And once the totality ends, they'll pack up. And I'm like, helping my mom put like her lawn chair together. And you hear like a loudspeaker started like going off, and you hear this guy saying, "Wasn't that great, folks? What a wonderful event. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for coming to Carbondale, Illinois for the Solar Eclipse 2024. There's a rumor that in another 7 years, just 100 miles from here, we get another solar eclipse that might last twice as long because of the distance and the time of year." And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't like, fucking sounds weird. And then the guy's like, though in history it is recorded, there was once a solar eclipse that lasted 3 hours. And that was on the day that Jesus returned to life.
Oh,
and you hear collectively this like, oh, fuck this fucking guy. It's like I wanted to like hit him with my soda.
Yeah, dude.
It's like you're fucking harshing everyone's fucking
keep
mellow
your
here,
shit
man.
to yourself right now, man.
And like there was guaranteed there's so much campus security at SIU at the time that like I know that if they had tried that shit before the eclipse, they'd have been fucking booted. So they were waiting right for that moment where they knew that most people were there to be fucking pissed off.
That's funny. Hey, you know what? We never finished our intro. We just jumped right in.
Oh yeah,
finish the intro.
What is this show about?
This? Well,
wait, actually, hold on.
It's funny you should ask. It's hilarious you should ask. This podcast is our opportunity, sir, to address the things that we've forgotten / never knew about / never discuss in our society. So the things that we as a collective society don't ever talk about, but maybe we should. And now that you guys have listened to us prattle on for 15 minutes about Lord knows what, the thing that we are going to be talking about tonight is UFO sightings, UFO, I don't know, alien invasions.
Alien invasion.
Yeah,
I like the invasion angle because I don't know if you heard my entire introduction, but I really buried the lead when I said Patrick Wall introduces alien invasions. But it was based on the like how primeval and scary the idea of something happening during the eclipse was. Like,
right.
I mean, it could have been anything. They're like, oh, it gets dark, and then you see the fucking armada up there. Not the Spanish Armada, but you know, or a big fuck, like a space squid.
No, you know what? The next fucking full lunar or solar eclipse, I want to get a bunch of boats together, dress up like Spanish conquistadors, and just be nearby somewhere as the Spanish Armada.
But yeah, I mean, like there's a primeval fear that like really didn't make any sense. It's like, what's going to happen? Is the moon going to explode? Is there going to be, the fucking mole people are going to come up because it's dark on Earth?
You can't help.
Yeah,
the Morlocks?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that a fucking time machine reference?
Kind of. No, it's actually Fantastic Four, first episode.
Oh, well.
Or we could do the Incredibles. I am the Underminer.
Oh my God.
I am beneath you, but nothing is beneath me. Yeah, they're just fucking. My favorite theory that I was telling the kids while I was building these domes with him, I'd be like, "You guys excited for the eclipse?" They'd be like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Yeah, look out for the super werewolf." And the kids would be like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, it's a full moon and it's daytime. Look out." They only get to do this for 4 minutes.
The super werewolf.
But anyway, so like the idea that we're still afraid of something coming from space, because it's a lot of space, pretty fucking unknown. We don't know dick about space, essentially.
It's funny how easily, it's funny how simple it is to rattle, like all of the, how do I word this? All the things that you know, all of your rational minded thinking can be completely undone in a fucking instant. I'll give you a perfect example. There was a day where I was in an attic and I was trying to come out of the attic. And I knew that where the attic entrance and exit was right where a roof truss comes to, like, the point of the triangle, right? Mm-hmm. And I knew that the distance...
Structurally the strongest part.
Right. I knew that the distance...
According to Buckminster Fuller.
Jesus Christ. I knew that the distance between my knees sitting on the truss and my hips, I knew that distance, whatever that is, maybe 2 feet, 2 feet from my knee to my waist.
Right.
Right? I knew that was longer than the space that I had. So I was like, I have to, like, kind of go at an angle, right? I can't, like, there's no point where I can have my hips directly above my knees.
Right.
Well, I tried to do some kind of weird, freaky shit, and I ended up wedging myself in there, in between, in the truss space there.
Ooh, that's no good.
And I momentarily freaked out and thought to myself, I mean, thought went through my mind, I'm never going to be able to get out of here. And it wasn't like a rhetorical, like, well, never.
It wasn't
just conjecture. It was like, I am here forever now. This is where I live until I die. I'm going to die here.
It's like at 127 hours when the fucking rock falls in the guy's hand. He's like, oh, fuck. And he tries to move it. And he's like, huh. Uh-oh. After a few seconds, he's like, oh shit, that is not ever even going to budge in my life ever. I'm gonna
start
die.
chopping.
Yeah, I mean, you get into those situations sometimes, and you just become a different person.
When it literally took 5 seconds maybe before I managed to scooch my booch out. But
people are squishy. You can usually get out.
And then, but what's funny is like afterward, I'm sitting there and I'm laughing my ass off. And by the way, this is all recorded. This can be Patreon content. Me screaming at Brian while we're both mic'd up.
Do you say no, Brian, no, Brian?
I don't, but you can hear the panic in my voice as I'm like, oh my God, I'm stuck. And then like when I come down, like when I get down out of the attic and I start laughing and telling Brian the story and start laughing at the fact that momentarily in my brain, I was like, I'm here forever. I'm stuck. I'm never getting out of this. Even though like, you know, what I'm saying is like all of that rational thinking just in a fucking flip of a switch is gone.
Oh yeah,
oh God.
I completely understand. I fell off a fucking mountain one time. I was hiking in upstate New York, and I was trying to make it to this bridge to cross this river, the Hudson River, but like, you know, further north. And I like my stop was closed for the season because it was the middle of winter. It was like between Christmas and New Year, but it was really nice out. It was really good like hiking weather.
Right.
Got cold at night, so camping was a fucking great idea.
Right.
But yeah, things are a little wet, a little sludgy. Been some snow, but it's not so bad. Nice sweater weather.
Right.
And I come across this like gigantic long tunnel carved out of rock because I'm walking the train tracks because otherwise I have to walk the freeway. I take a train up north like Manitou, and then I was like, I want to be a bad boy, and I'll just walk the train tracks to get down the Hudson because it's right along the river.
Find a dead body or two.
Come across a really long train tunnel, so long that I can't see the end of it. And I'm like, oh, fuck that. I'm not walking. There's no fucking way I'm going to walk blindly into the darkness of a fucking endless train tunnel. I have no idea when this will come out.
Right.
Could be miles. I could go down the wrong way. I could be eaten. I don't know.
You could have a train start coming.
And then what do I do?
Very
do I go to the
long
right?
to
Do I go to the right?
figure
Do I
it
go to
out.
the left? Which way do trains go? I know cars are on the right. What about trains? I don't know. And then I did do that running thing. What movie is it that's got as The Fugitive? Running through the train, like the logos, like the train light behind him. He's like,
oh yeah. And he jumps off right in time.
Yeah. But so I was like, fuck that. So I climb around the tunnel, and it's kind of like carved into a mountain. Well, I do a couple of moves, and I get past like a point of no return. I gotta like go down some shit while I'm up there to get further down. And when I come out where the tunnel ends, I am on a 60-foot sheer rock face. Like I'm at like a 38-degree angle on this like wet leaf covered incline on this big hill, this mountain, and it goes directly to just carved out of the fucking mountain, just like a 60-foot sheer face.
Jesus.
So I had to like hop from tree to tree for a while to keep going further, and I'm like fucking oh god.
John Rambo.
Yeah, no, I'm like positive like I'm gonna fucking die. And at one point I stop and like take a breath. And I noticed like the trees are moving around me. I'm like, what the fuck? And I realized that I'm slipping off of this fucking cliff face. Like there's this,
there was like
the wet leaves,
mudslide.
like this chunk that I was on. Like I was holding on to a thin tree, and I look, and it's out of the ground, and I'm going off. And I got like maybe 10 feet, and I'm fucking going down, man. And I remember this feeling of like, oh, I die this way. And it was scary, but it was like also this is happening really quick, so I think this is just gonna be it. I guess could be worse. Wish I'd gotten to go camping, but as I'm going off, I noticed that this rock face has like those big like metal nets that they put on like areas like on freeways that have been carved out for people to pass through that are like to keep structural integrity, so rocks and stuff don't fall.
Yeah.
Well, they got these big ass bolts that stick out of the fucking rock face to hold the nets up. And I see one of those, and if I could like jump and grab that and swing over like fucking cliffhanger. Anyway,
what?
Yeah, no, I know. I got out of it. I had to climb the fucking net down. What? It was a whole thing. I could dramatize it more, but that's what happened.
Jesus.
But it was like that close. It was just like fucking split second. And I was like, oh shit. Anyway,
let's start talking about aliens, huh?
Yes. Well, I want to be.
Yes.
I want to be. Yes. Time to talk about the extraterrestrials. This is the voice I'm going to be doing the most on this podcast.
I wish you wouldn't.
I wish you wouldn't. What do you mean, see?
Oh, God.
We're talking about the big A up in the sky. Here it comes. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's not Superman.
Space monsters.
Space monster coming from the the depths of Venus.
The depths of Venus.
Venus probably has depths, right? We've got depths.
I'm sure. Yeah, they all seem like they probably have some pretty deep depths.
Yeah, right. Some deep depths.
Deep depths.
Oh, those aliens so deep. But okay, I want to say that
of Jupiter. I mean, the fucking place is huge.
Depths of Jupiter is a cool fucking band name.
You're just thinking of Drops of Jupiter, the song
that a
by
band?
Train.
Is that a band? Train?
Yeah, they did the song Drops of
Oh yeah,
Jupiter.
they suck balls.
suck
I forgot
terribly.
about that.
Tell me. I don't know if we. I don't know if we're we have the copyright for that.
We didn't do a full 8 seconds, so it's probably okay.
Oh, is that what you get?
So yeah,
You get 7 seconds.
We could literally play like 6 seconds of that song right here on the podcast.
Really?
Edit that in right now.
I didn't know that. Hell no.
6 seconds.
God damn
Train.
no.
But okay, I want to be very clear. I think we both need to be clear here that we are not endorsing any alien conspiracy theories whatsoever. We're comedians. We're laborers and intelligent people.
Speak for yourself, shitbird.
Are you serious?
About what?
You got an alien conspiracy?
Oh, no. I was talking about us being intelligent.
Oh. I'll have you know, I shook hands with the head of solar science of NASA not 3 days ago.
Yeah, so what? Have you ever seen the movie Forrest Gump? He shakes hands with the president.
Yeah, but it's just Johnson. But okay, so the official stance of every governmental body is that there has been no contact with extraterrestrial life despite active studies. But there are numerous theories that come out of the conclusion that alien life has to exist. Even the ancient Greeks at a certain point had base theory that there had to be life on other planets.
I do believe that. I think it's incredibly stupid to think that there's no life anywhere on any other planet.
We figured the ancient Greeks, even your standard philosophers, were well read enough to know that their gods were based off of planets, and that the planets were fucking planets. Like they were aware that Earth-like celestial bodies existed, and they had names for them. Obviously,
and
Mercury,
they didn't even
Venus.
know half of what we know now.
Yeah, and the standing collective. Well, they didn't know dick. Essentially, they thought fucking. Yeah. They thought that fucking ghosts made you happy and sad. Be like, oh, he's been really depressed lately. He must have been hailed a sad ghost.
Sorry, guys, I can't come to work today. I've got a sad ghost in me.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to hang in a graveyard till I get some happy, hard-working ghosts.
What the fuck?
They're called humors. That was like the thing.
I know.
If you go outside when it's damp, you'll get fucking bummed out because you fucking sucked a ghost off.
Yeah, because that's where the sad ghosts hang out.
Yeah, exactly.
In the dampness.
When it's damp. Oh, look out for the damp humors. They're gonna fuck you up and give you pneumonia.
The damp humor. That's a cool band name.
But okay, so the Epicureans in ancient Greece, they had theorized that the world was a random sandbox of atoms. The idea of the atom comes from the ancient Greek, and it's just the smallest possible particle. Mm-hmm. So to the ancient Greeks, the idea of the world and all creation was just the hither and thither of wind and basic forces pushing your atoms together until some shit happened.
Okay.
They understood the idea of eternity and the longevity of things like stones and the ocean and the impermanence of life. So like to them, it was like over the eons, the smallest possible particles, essentially fucking grains of sand, formed together to make everything. And they also said that if that happened here on Earth and there were other planets, then that definitely happened on other planets. So the idea of extraterrestrial life was just like more of a taken for granted. It was like a given.
Right.
They didn't think necessarily the moon. They hadn't seen any rivers and shit on the moon. So like, whatever.
Right.
It's probably just a rock, but
somewhere else that then it would, if that's how you believe things came to be, then it would stand to reason that any other place that exists would have the same thing happen at some point.
Yeah, like so Epicurus was this philosopher that started the Epicurean school. He had a disciple named Metrodonus of Chios, not Chiodos, but Chios.
Okay.
Metrodonus of Chios considered the idea of our world being the only one as unlikely as if a single ear of wheat grew on a vast plain. The poet Lucretius put it, nothing in the universe is unique and alone, and therefore in other regions there must be other Earths inhabited by different tribes of men and breeds of beasts. So just basic, the ancient Greeks kind of fucking all over the place. And of course, well, I mean, like
they were fucking all over the place. That's pretty. He said they're fucking all over the place.
They were fucking all over the place. They were fucking
pretty well documented.
They're going Greek all over the place. Greco-Roman.
Boy, oh boy.
But their school of thought spread, and other cultures in Africa and China and all other parts of the ancient world connected by land.
Right.
Eventually had. I mean, they in one way or another, all tribes have had some sort of a concept of this, but it's always been in the abstract, and it's always been thought of as secondary in nature to like the weird shit happening on Earth. So like our episode on cryptids, which
was awesome.
It's a blast. It's a blast. The cryptids were most of the focus of the people on Earth because they're like, well, we're on Earth.
Yeah.
And it's not like they had any concept of a thing that would get them the fuck off of Earth.
Right.
So they're like, yeah, we got to worry about the grunch and we got to worry about the Mothman and shit and fucking skinwalkers. The abstract of what an alien might be was usually more, probably just people.
Right.
They got people and cats and dogs and rabbits and shit.
Right.
Like, yeah,
they look like us, act like us, do all the things like us.
Right. Now, my favorite take from the modern world, actually, because it was very, very common to just consider other worlds. The medieval theology had speculations that if there were aliens, then how were they redeemed by Christ? Because they must be.
That shit cracks me up.
So did
because the Bible says we're special.
We're talking about we're ancient Europeans. I don't know if they're doing that voice specifically.
That's exactly what they all sound like.
As in the Bible, it teaches us special. I don't know what that was. It teaches us special. But the conundrum for...
I was saying it that way because I'm fairly certain that I have heard someone in that accent dismiss there being a possibility of life anywhere else because that was their point. Like, well, the Bible says that we are created in His image, and so if aliens exist and they're smarter than us and they can build spaceships and all that shit,
why ain't they got no Jesus?
Then why in the hell? Then who in the hell are they created in the image of? Which, listen, if that's your mentality, that there's this Sky Daddy up there that like made us look like him, and then were there to ever be an alien, like actual footage or actual capture or actual whatever, can you imagine like how, speaking of like every rational thought in your brain just like you've got this concept in your brain that we are us because God said we're special. And now this thing that's clearly way fucking smarter than you and way more advanced than you because it got here.
It's like, this guy looks like a frog man. Is God a frog?
What?
Or is there a space frog god that we're not knowing about?
Crawfish with...
Well, here's an interesting concept because interesting concepts all around because... The theological implication in medieval times was you had like 3 different schools of thought. Either, or I guess 4 different schools of thought. Either there was no redeeming the people of space because it was taken for granted that there were obviously people in space, or at the very least life.
Right, they're going to hell because they never.
There either are there's like no people in space, or if there are, they're
going to hell because they didn't get baptized.
They're fucked. Sorry to tell you. 2. God has chosen them above us, and they'll be saved, so they don't need a Christ, right? They're the special ones, and it's man that is like the grand test that needs the redemption of Christ.
Well, I mean, the Bible says the opposite of that, but
these are theological implications,
right?
And thought experiments, right?
Right, but also there's another one that's like if you believe in God and you think that He is all knowing, omnipresent, and blah blah blah. And that He created them too, then maybe they have their own fucking priests and shit.
Exactly. So there's the other
one. Have the same practices.
This is where the other 2 schools of thought are
which I think is insane, even though I just mentioned that as a possibility.
But the other 2 schools of thought that I think are great are 1, God holds them beloved as well, and therefore must have had them redeemed by either sending Jesus up there after.
I know where we're going with this.
You know, kind of like the Mormons have him, like popping up in Utah. You know? It's like Jesus ascends and then stops real quick by Salt Lake City to be like, hey, I think maybe by wear magic underpants and build a big hat.
Hey, marry as many 14-year-old girls as you want, buddy.
Literally at the same time, multiple.
Yeah, have them all.
But
whenever they have one, and then that one turns 14, marry her too. Shit.
I don't want any Mormons to subscribe to the Patreon.
I do. I want them all to subscribe to the Patreon and just hear us shitting all over them.
So okay,
because if they can't go,
so there's the take. Either Jesus went up there afterwards,
and somebody's going to say some shit about like that's what is it? Fundamental Mormons, right? Isn't it the fundamental? The fundamental
all Mormons are pretty fundamental. I don't know many reformist Mormons.
There's a name for the ones that have all the 14-year-old wives and
the fundamentalists.
Yeah. Anyway,
anyhow,
somebody's gonna say some shit about that. I don't care.
God damn it.
Care.
So either Jesus went up to all these different planets and stopped by and he was like, "Hey, I'm the Christ. I want to let you guys know here's what's going on," or each planet gets their own Jesus.
I hope it's that one because it's the same Jesus.
I like that one too because that kind of ties into like the Zeus concept of Zeus having all these different kids.
Yeah.
So in this one, when Jesus goes up, reforms into the God, and then just comes another Jesus onto another planet.
I would hope so because can you imagine if it was just one guy and he just had to keep doing it over and over and over again? That's
because the best
sucks.
scenario for me in this would be that one day there's a war between worlds and they all have their own Jesus. So it's multiple worlds fighting to bring the truth of Christ, even though it's the exact same thing. Just like one's like a squid man,
God.
One's purple with like nipples on his face, one's like
one's just a green gaseous.
They've all said
cloud
the same
with
shit, but everyone's so fucking pretentious. None of them will read the other one's book. Like, seems very similar. I don't.
Why do they have a lisp?
Because I'm a wacky alien. Of course, I have a lisp. I'm the one with the nipples on my face.
Fucking. Jesus.
So anyway, there's the space Christ. Like I'm just trying to get up to speed to like modern times so we can talk about real stuff.
We're never gonna finish this.
Oh Christ. I'm gonna cut through some of this bullshit that I wrote down, but eventually, essentially, the first sci-fi story about outer space was written by a Greek named Lucian of Samosata.
What?
Yeah, it was. This is fun because it's like a parody story. It's kind of a farce about people who live on the moon, but also he writes that there are no women up there and they're born of man. So really, you got a bunch of weird gay aliens up there, and they also
Greek, so
one of their legs gets real big. So they're big leg gay Indian aliens.
Engorged legs, you say?
He says, the moon dwellers are not begotten of women, but of mankind. The name of woman is utterly unknown among them. As soon as the infant is conceived, the leg begins to swell, and afterwards, when the time of birth is come, they give it a lance and take it out dead. I don't know what that means. I think they got the dead leg. They got a... Oh, no. Okay.
What?
I think that they're saying that these babies are born out of the dick. That's what this guy's saying. They're gay aliens on the moon that are born out of dicks.
Gay Greek moon aliens.
Yeah, I think that's what our guy.
And that's the leg begins to swell. Is that what he's trying to say?
I think that is the leg. You know the leg? No, the third leg. You know that one? Lucian of Samosata.
And when did he do this?
Oh, let's see. I pulled this up. The true story.
A long time ago. He's like the long time ago gay Greek H.G. Wells.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, came up with some bullshit. He was a troll essentially. He was doing like
as was Wells,
silly bullshit. Yeah, doesn't say.
Okay.
Sounds like a fucking asshole.
It doesn't matter. It's just the...
Oh, it was like a mockery of people who would like travel places like Marco Polo and come back and be like, I saw the most wonderful things. And he's like, yeah, I went to the fucking moon, asshole. There's a bunch of gay dick babies.
Oh my God, it sounds miserable.
Yeah.
to deliver a dick baby.
And his big thing is, if you don't believe me about what's happening on the moon, just go there and see for yourself.
Oh my God.
Fucking asshole.
So all this because Marco Polo would come back and be like, oh my God, elephants.
Not necessarily Marco Polo. I don't think that they were contemporaries.
Okay.
But in general, that was your first. That was
like,
your first like alien story ever.
Somebody would come back and be like, hey, think about it. Like there was a time when like the fucking mere thought of like just hearing about a camel, you know, or a hippo.
Oh yeah, it'd be like, what
or
the fuck
an
are you
elephant.
talking about?
You'd be like, what?
What? Does
You're
it have
full
magic
of
powers?
shit, dude. You are so
It's got
full of shit.
what on its back?
Yeah.
You telling me you got a horse with a giant ass neck covered in spots, and they like beat each other with their heads?
Yeah.
That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, you're out of your mind, dude.
But the bottom line on that is that in the 2nd century BCE, the notion of extraterrestrials was popular enough to make fucking gags about it.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So we're gonna skip all the rest of everything up until the 1930s for this one.
Okay.
All right, well, real quick, in 1895 or 88, depending on who says what, H.G. Wells writes The War of the Worlds.
Right.
Oftentimes cited as like the first real sci-fi novel, which is bullshit because Mary Shelley did that forever.
And then Orson Welles decided to freak everybody out.
In 1892,
which says a lot about like what were people that like not well read at the time that like Orson Welles just did a whole radio broadcast of War of the Worlds and people were like fucking flipping
That's
shit.
actually a great take because the thing is that Orson Welles' version of the War of the Worlds does not follow anything that has to do with H.G. Wells. It's an adaptation. No. So H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, you follow like it's being narrated by like a nameless narrator who's watching an invasion of London in fucking 1898.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And then Orson Welles with the Mercury Theater in 1930.
Yeah, he just said it was like happening in a fucking farm.
He said it's happening in Grover Mill, fucking New Jersey. Yeah. And they're doing a radio broadcast.
Yeah.
This shit's fucking crazy. I'll get there in just a second. 1892, though, I think it's good to note that the first alien invasion stories come out within a few years of each other. You got War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells, and then this guy, Robert Potter, who's an Australian clergyman, published The Germ Growers, also in London. So in London, these two stories come out. One is big fuck robot aliens come laser. And then the other one, The Germ Growers, it describes a covert invasion by aliens who take on the appearance of human beings. So it's like your first pod people, the Thing.
Skinwalkers.
Yeah, skinwalkers, sort of like subversive thing. So that's the two ideas come together at once to be fucking, they clash. It's definitely like two different styles of shit.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah,
also, if you put those two things together in your brain and you've never heard anything about aliens or alien invasions and you're just some fucking yuts living in the late 19th century that's never thought about it, that's probably got to be the fucking scariest shit you could ever think about. Wait, what?
Think about where this shit's coming from now, because like in 1892, you've got, the Civil War has already come and gone. In England, you've got fucking all kinds of mechanical, technological innovations happening. There's fucking electricity and shit popping up all over the place.
Yeah.
So you got steam engines. Yeah, the whole
You're
steampunk
balls deep
aesthetic.
in the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah, in London at the time, you had Jack the Ripper doing a bunch of shit. Like that's the scene you're looking for. The Industrial Revolution is kicking. It's smoggy as fuck everywhere.
Every city's burnt down to the fucking ground at least once.
It's all factories and iron and bridges and fucking ships.
What?
Like,
dude, I think we've talked about this before about like just how everything has burnt down to the ground in every major city in like the late 1800s and early 1900s.
Well, yeah.
Just fucking every... I mean, it makes sense because...
Well, because they ground up enough children in the fucking the grist mills.
No, I mean,
on accident,
you think about
that the cogs get fucked up and then the things break and they explode. It fucking fires.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, it does make sense. We didn't have electric stoves or central heat. You know what I mean?
It's all fire.
Like, everything is all fire. Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
All it takes is one person to fuck up.
The Industrial Revolution thing.
And everything's made out of wood. Too.
Everything's fire and steam powered. Steam engines fucking explode with enough pressure if they're not regulated well, and everything else is just hot metal, and fucking shit burns.
And every single fucking building's made out of wood.
The Great Chicago Fire was like supposedly because a mule kicked over a lamp and burned the whole fucking city down. It was that
whole city's made out of fucking wood.
Everything's oil.
Every way that we cook things, make steel, You know,
and I think the big
keep our houses heated is all fucking fire.
I think it's
Everything's made of
really,
wood.
really relevant to think that the big psychological shift away from things like cryptids being like, or not cryptids at the time, but your thoughts of demons and fairies and, earth-based eternal dangers. Earth Angel, would you be mine?
Yeah.
If you shift away from that a little bit as people get further away from like, I live in a cottage and I fucking forage for food.
Yeah.
Like now it's like, yeah, I fucking work myself to death with a fucking flame-eating metal monster all day. The concept of
Industrial Revolution.
thanks for that so much.
Living in a cottage and foraging for food sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Bummer.
I'd rather live just compacted into a small space. Bunch of dirty children.
Children with influenza just fucking crying and pissing on me. That sounds great.
My first 47 children died of smallpox, influenza, scarlet fever.
Yeah.
Just name one.
It's like, oh, fuck, no more potatoes. I guess I'll have to sell the kids.
I need the horse, so what other options do I have?
Mary, I got to sell the boy. I'm sorry. But yeah, so like that's where the brain goes quickly. Like you're not afraid of a fucking vampire or a wolf or some shit when your biggest fear is getting exploded at work all day.
I mean, you can be afraid of more than one thing at a time.
But
I guarantee you some of those people walking home from work at night were like, oh, the werewolves.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Jack the Ripper. Fuck.
Yeah.
Jack the Ripper.
No.
Slice you up.
He wasn't
But what I'm saying is that all of this was all in the direction. Oh, slice you up. Hey, Jack over there. Slice.
Jack the Ripper. Slice you up. Yeah.
Hey, come on over here. I'm going to slice you. Fuck. But I think that just the psychological area that people were in of like, now we're pushing technology. Now we've got fucking ships that can go across the ocean. We've got guns that can, World War I on the horizon there, especially in Europe. That shit was way on the horizon by the time H.G. Wells put that shit out.
Yeah.
And we're talking like the machinations and the guns and everything that they were building by the end of the 17th century are fucking insane. Like the fucking...
By the end of the 17th century?
The 19th.
I was going to say.
19th century. It's the other side, because 1800s is the 19th.
You got it.
Yes. So,
I was like, the 1600s?
By the time 1900 rolls around, they're building automated fucking guns and giant tanks and massive artillery and gunships and shit like that. Mm-hmm. And it comes to horrifying realization in World War I, 1915 through 1930, particularly in Denmark. But anyway, you're reading about some of that shit in Denmark. They fucked Denmark up real good.
Yeah, I mean,
but I think that the advent of the technology.
They executed Franz Ferdinand.
Everyone gets up in arms.
Start a war.
World War I's fucked.
The Archduke is dead.
And I think it's really easy to see where
he was Archduke, right? Archduke Ferdinand.
Archduke Ferdinand. Yeah. Yeah. So
what?
Franz Ferdinand.
What is that?
Take me out. I say you don't know.
Oh, that's not the one they executed. I'm sorry. It was a different guy.
Oh, they should have. Executed. Song was on the radio 34 times a day for 20 years.
No, that was a different Franz Ferdinand. That's Franz Ferdinand, the band.
In any case, my point is
talking about,
it's obvious that it's
early 1900s Archduke.
To me, very clear that H.G. Wells was doing a bit of a cautionary tale about the political
Orson Welles
situation. Orson Welles fucked whatever was moving and then ate whatever was moving. But
he was. Aren't there rumors that he was gay though?
I mean, he's kind of like just just whatever, gay, straight,
he's just asexual,
just fucking.
He's just
fucking eating a turkey leg
and going to town,
fucking a married couple, like
whatever hole I slip in.
Whatever's going on.
Rub this turkey grease all over my dinger and slide it into
That's
something.
a very bad Orson Welles impersonation.
I don't care.
He sounded like Brain from Pinky and the Brain.
That wasn't Brain.
Same thing. Fuck, I can't do.
Brain had a British accent, did he?
Same thing we do every night, Pinky.
Did he not have an
Orson Welles
accent?
wasn't British. He was an American guy.
I'm talking about Brain from
He did not.
Pinky.
He sounded like fucking Orson Welles. We're getting off topic. I'm
Same
trying to lay
thing
down a
we do
very
every
relevant
night,
point that
Pinky.
H.G. Wells was putting a cautionary tale into effect about the effects of modern mechanization and warfare in Europe. Fuck.
Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, so
In any case, that plus the pod people thing you got the brains of the populace started working up like, you're afraid of spies, you're afraid of communists, you're afraid of big ass guns, you're afraid of lasers.
I think pod people
invasions.
aliens are cooler than War of the Worlds aliens.
Either or, it doesn't matter. I mean, the one's gonna fuck you up, the other one's going to just fuck you up. Yeah, and then you wake up and your brain is being eaten by a fucking slimy parasite.
I think that I guess either way, it'd fucking freak you out.
Yeah, it's scary shit.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Like, the reason that the alien invasion trope has become the more powerful, like, after fucking the 1960s, sci-fi was the reigning rank or genre of storytelling.
Yeah.
Up till now. Like, I think right now...
It still is.
We've got, like, dramatic fiction or something like that is ranking right now. But for the most part,
What
like...
the fuck is dramatic fiction?
These fucking Hunger Games.
I would...
Set in the future. It's not really sci-fi.
Kind of sci-fi though.
There's some sci-fi to it.
Yeah, that's sort of a dystopian sci-fi.
That's kind of the thing, though. I mean, like, we can call it science fiction all we want, but unless it's got a robot in it,
Is that what
or an alien,
makes it
like, that's kind of how it works. Yeah,
distinctively sci-fi?
right. No, if you want to go to the if you want to talk about the best sci-fi in young adult fiction, it's definitely Animorphs, because the Animorphs fucking rules.
You've talked about the Animorphs, and I think that I was there. I was too old to get into the Animorphs.
Yeah, I mean,
When did that come out?
Animorphs is going to be 1992, maybe.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I was in fucking third grade reading the shit out of Animorphs.
It was books?
Yeah. It was a book series, kind of like, around the same time as contemporary with Goosebumps. A lot of kids would figure, like, I'm a Goosebumps kid or I'm an Animorphs kid. You know?
I was a Goosebumps kid for a little bit.
Animorphs is fucking dope, though, because it's about like a Secret Wars invasion where...
96, so I was 15 already.
Okay,
I wasn't into that.
So these slimy worm slug aliens called the Yerks could crawl in your ear and then occupy your brain, and they're bent on global domination, right? So they're
one ear at a time, baby.
they just slime in, then they wrap up your brain, and that's who you're dealing with. Could be your dad, could be your uncle. So these other aliens, the Andalites, that look like
Looking at
fucking
the covers of these books. Do they turn into
animals?
Okay.
So these other aliens,
Are you saying they morph into animals? Okay.
Animorph. Yeah, you fuck Jesus Christ. But so,
I don't fucking know.
So the Andalites, these guys that look like fucking blue centaurs with like 4 arms.
What? Okay.
They speak telepathically. They're cool as shit. I don't know, whatever. Because mind you, the Yerks are coming with forces from other planets. They're not just focused on Earth, baby. They're coming with the Hork-Bajir, a tree-dwelling species with blades on their arms and legs.
Whoa.
Look out.
Nuts.
They're the soldiers, but they were a peaceful people. But the Andalites,
Before the Yorks came.
The Andalites
Yerks.
have
Yerks.
Yerks, Yeerks. So the Yerks are the fucks.
Yerks.
And then the Andalites are the good guys, but they're kind of staying hands off from Earth because they're like, fuck, we can't really stretch ourselves too thin. But they've got the technology to do the animal morph stuff. One crash lands. So this group of kids find
This is
him.
one of our alien invasions, just so you guys know for this episode.
Yeah, it's the coolest one. It's before we actually talk about probably the most relevant use of science fiction in the history of the world.
I feel like this is...
We'll talk about the second most relevant use of science fiction.
This whole thing's gone tits up. Let's go nuts.
Anyway, the Andalite... the Andalite crash lands. Okay? These kids find him. And this Andalite's like, hey, kids, I'm dying. I'm going to give you
I'll show you how to transform into an iguana.
I'm going to give you our morphin powers.
Our morphin powers?
Yeah, mighty
Those
morphin
different ones.
powers.
Okay.
So it's like, but he's like, really specifically, you have to touch the animal to get, like, the DNA.
Oh.
So, yeah, so if you want to turn into a tiger or some shit, you got to fucking touch a tiger. What are you going to do? Just go get a fucking fake tiger?
No, but somebody's going to accidentally have, like, a fucking, mosquito land on them, and then they're just like, shit.
Then you can turn into a mosquito.
Who wants to do that?
Anyone who's trying to get into a government building, Patrick.
Do they still have their own brains, or do they have
they're still them.
Do they have like the biological, like,
they got some
drive?
There's some instinct stuff there. They're not just like, I need to eat fruit, puke, and fuck. But okay, so
Okay.
the Andalite tells him you can do this, but then he's like, "Yo, you can't be an animal for more than an hour."
Okay.
That's the real hook of the whole thing.
Okay.
Because if you do, you're stuck. You're done morphed, right?
You're okay.
And
So this alien had it really dialed down in Earth time. He was
he,
like,
he
60
speaks
minutes.
he speaks telepathically.
60 minutes, 60 seconds apart.
Oh, actually,
That
fun
is, you get
fact:
1 hour, guy.
I believe the Andalites had a perfect biological clock, so they could tell the passage of time perfectly.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
I want one of them to be the drummer in my band.
So roughly
Just
60
keep
minutes.
keep time perfect.
They could do that. They can tell you what time it is any
Perfect
time of the
time.
day without looking at the clock. But so anyway, the kids are like, okay, fuck, let's go do this. The one gets like, I touched a mouse, I touched a dog, whatever. Like they're like, let's go see what we can do, morph and see, go see about.
Once you
some of these
touch
aliens.
one, are you stuck with that one, or can you change?
You can like stockpile. You can do more.
Oh,
Right?
So any animal.
Yeah,
touch.
but you just can't do like a person that's morphed. You can't like get the DNA from them. So like if this one guy Marco gets to be a gorilla, you can't touch Marco gorilla and become a gorilla.
Oh,
yourself.
got you.
Yeah, you can touch people and turn into them, but it's very immoral. Not a cool thing to do.
Not okay.
Not a cool thing to do. You'd end up just jacking off in front of the mirror. That's a whole big plot point. You gotta look out for that.
They have that in the
No,
book.
I'm just joking. No.
It's like I thought this was
Catherine
kids' books.
Applegate didn't write the whole you're not allowed to finger yourself while you're you're cloned as your school teacher or whatever. Like that's
God damn it, Jim!
damn.
Stop touching all the pretty girls and then going and figuring yourself with them.
So,
Jesus Christ!
but okay, so the big part of this is the first book. And the book's like 70
Janine,
pages.
why do you have a dildo in your ass? No, it's me, Jim. Change back. Sorry.
I just needed to take some pictures real quick. It's for blackmail, not pleasure. Hey, let me suck your dick real quick. It's for blackmail. But sorry, so this one kid.
That's not what you're thinking. It's blackmail.
It's for blackmail, not for you. Not for
no,
blackmail you.
it's fine.
I got to turn
I don't
into.
even have to put your face in it. Just your dick.
It's got to turn
Just
into
put your dick in my
Got to
mouth.
turn into your cousin real quick.
It's
So, anyway, so there's one kid, Tobias. This is all within 70 pages. And yes, I'm doing a full breakdown.
so many angry Animorphs fans right now.
What? Because it's fucking dope. You're just being a boner about it.
I didn't even know about the Animorphs until
I
very
would actually,
recently.
you know what? I would bet you about $50 that if you spent an hour-ish, hour and a half kicking it with the first Animorphs book, you'd be like, this is silly, but I liked it.
Okay.
Because it's high concept stuff,
won't-
especially for kids. Catherine
I won't-
Applegate, great writer.
I won't take that away from you.
But the big emotional crux is Tobias, he volunteers at if you're a big Animorphs fan, and I'm getting some of this wrong, just fuck off. I haven't read these books in like 20 years. I read all of them, though, so please suck my dick. I'm a big fan. So Tobias touches a red-tailed hawk that's being recuperated at like a nature sanctuary. And gets to be a hawk, right? And then there's a whole big thing. The kids fuck up like some sort of plan to infiltrate some shit. They're in a lot of trouble. Tobias ends up like saving their bacon, but in doing so, stays too long as a hawk, and now that's him. That's him, baby. He doesn't get to morph no more. He's just a hawk boy. That's the first book.
Huh.
So anyway, Orson Welles in 1938. Okay, so yeah, so that there's okay.
Orson Welles. Did he morph into a giant fat ass?
Yes, he turned into a big drunk fat fuck. Mighty Morphin Orson Welles. But like, all right, fever pitch we've alluded to this, but like this is like the something I really wanted to talk about. Fever pitch hits in 1938, partially with the appearance of Superman. As our first like noble space Christ, right? Like
Okay.
he's got kind of a space
This
Jesus
is a
energy.
comic book?
The first comic book, not Detective Comics, Action Comics, number 1, 1938.
The first comic book, like,
no,
ever?
just the first appearance of
Oh, okay.
Superman.
Okay, I
It
got
was
you.
already a comic in effect. I think it actually is Action Comics number 1.
Okay.
But there were already fuckloads of superheroes before Superman. But this is the one
Right.
that he's all powerful and he's badass. And
Right.
So that really got people's interest in alien stuff to begin with. That coincided with the release of Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater, because Orson Welles is the director of this theater, their radio play of H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds.
Right.
The big thing with that is that it came out on Halloween. People were already feeling a little spooked. A lot of alien jazz going on. But also, it started, say, like straight 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Well, there was a show called the Chase and Sanborn Hour with Edgar Bergen. Edgar Bergen, Candace Bergen's father. You might know Candy Bergen.
Yeah.
He was a famous
Murphy Brown.
Murphy Brown. He was a famous ventriloquist. He had a little dummy called Charlie McCarthy that was like a funny smartass.
Gross.
And which is funny. He was a ventriloquist on the radio. I think that's fun. But but he was super fucking famous.
Jesus Christ.
You gonna make it?
He's just fucking speaking in different voices. People are like, "Oh yeah, he's got a puppet. Have you seen him? He's a ventriloquist."
No, I can illustrate exactly how to do this. Okay, right here. Hold on. I'm gonna let me walk downstairs. Let me walk downstairs. Get my puppet.
Get your puppet.
Creak. Hey, what's going on, Sandy? Oh, what's up, Riley? Creak. Okay, here he is. This is my ventriloquist dummy.
Oh my
god. Sandy Kovacs. What do you say, Sandy? I say you're a fucking piece of shit.
You know what's the funny?
Sandy.
The funniest part about this whole thing
is that my puppet is immaculate. You can't believe that I've
no,
kept this a
it's
secret
that
from you so
even
long.
though you don't have to do this, you're still moving your hand like you're working a puppet while you do the voice.
Anyhow,
Oh, God.
so Edgar Bergen's working his magic. Sorry. Senior Wincess is a different ventriloquist, but he's doing his thing. His show, the fucking Chase and Sanborn Hour, runs long, like 10 minutes or something.
Yeah, so a lot of people came into.
A lot of people switch the channel and they come on to the fucking the Mercury Theater presents War of the Worlds after the introduction.
Right.
So they're just doing this contemporary retelling in the form of a news broadcast.
Yeah.
And it's like tuning in live to
and so
Grover's
people
Mill,
fucking
New
believe
Jersey. Taking in on the scene is reporter Jim Halligan.
Yeah, they had the jar where they're doing the whole.
Yeah, they got the sound effects, the whole thing.
Like
But they did
opening up.
this cool thing. Like there's so many cool elements where like when it's like time for like Jim Halligan to take over, it's not really his fucking name, but whoever like the guy that was the reporter, when it was like his turn, he would sound like this. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, tuning in live," like he was approaching his mic, and then they'd be like, tuning in as like some fucking shuffles happening.
Yeah, they did a bunch of crazy
and you got
sound
people in
effects
the
for that.
background like, yeah, it's fucking something has crash landed in this barn in Grover's Mill. You're talking to the farmer. The farmer's like, I've had this barn for 39 years. Nothing's ever crashed into it from space. And, and they're like, what's that over there? And then you hear the... And it's like, oh God, the humanity. And that cuts off in the middle. And, like, back in the studio, dude's like, Jim, we seem to have lost him. So like this is coming off as this great fucking like full on news broadcast, and people are like, "Holy shit! Did we just listen to a guy get fucking melted by aliens live on the radio? Fuck!" Like people committed suicide. They're like, "I'm not doing that. I'm not fucking."
Yeah, I didn't know people committed suicide, but
Yeah, there was several
fucking
cases of people just being like, "No, I'm gonna jump out of my fucking window. I'm not fighting aliens." There are people who committed crimes. They're like, "Fucking world's ending. Let's just fucking do it. It's the purge."
I live the next town over from Grover's Mill, and if it's starting there, I gotta get some shit done.
Like I like in my head,
people.
In my head, my favorite scenario is like fucking like people that have been living like in tandem for a long time that never had a relationship just fuck because they're like. It's like my neighbor across the hall. I'm just gonna go fuck him now because the aliens are coming. And then an hour later, it's like this has been a broadcast of the Columbia Broadcasting Enterprise, and you're just like, oh man, we shouldn't have done that.
Yeah,
my fucking husband's gonna be so upset.
Yeah, especially 6 weeks later when she's knocking on the door holding a pregnancy test.
Fuck. So when it ends, people are like, oh fuck, it's a play. Fucking Orson Welles, god damn it. But after that, people are fucking hooked because that's never happened ever in society, that something was so overwhelmingly creepy that so many hundreds of thousands of people listened to it once that like it created a global kind of like atmosphere.
Yeah.
Or at least, within northeastern United States.
Well, I mean, yeah, and you would assume, especially after something like that, like once the shock of the whole like, you got me, it wasn't real.
Right.
That's all over, then you're like, that was actually fucking cool as shit.
But
Like,
it also did something really interesting where it kind of like tied like science fiction and alien stuff into horror.
yeah.
Like that had already been kind of like
And
in the
that's
air.
right as films are starting to come out. Like
Yeah, I mean,
film
like,
industry's fucking kicking off.
You know, within 20 years of that, you got the Twilight Zone. And Twilight Zone, the very first episode of Twilight Zone, the first thing released is aliens crash land on some planet. Or not aliens, but astronauts, like American astronauts crash land on a planet. A lot of tension between them because they're going to die on this barren rock. Like one of them kills another one or whatever and keeps walking and finds out he crash landed in fucking Nevada. You know, so that's a perfect fusion of space science crazies plus fucking modern existential horror shit. And the Twilight Zone did that all over the place. They had your benevolent aliens, or they had the ones that like made the human zoo. You know, people are the same everywhere. Roddy McDowell, that's a good one. My favorite is always To Serve Man. You know, To Serve Man. So probably the best episode of anything of all time.
Maybe.
Benevolent aliens come down, teach the world peace. You know, they put up force fields to keep them from using guns, make the food plentiful, make them happy in general. They're just like, we're just fucking
and
cool
everybody's
dudes. We're
fucking
cool dudes.
miserable.
No, everyone's happy as shit. They're like, these guys
okay.
fucking rule. And after a couple of years of this, of them being rad, you know, they start inviting people to like come, you know, fucking do a leap year on their fucking planet. You know, hey, come check out our shit. You know, you can come back. You'll know more about us. You're better at the science. You know, you know some stuff. And you know,
Exchange student.
yeah, exchange student situation. And in there, like some translator gets a copy of a book and he translates the title. It's like To Serve Man. And I was like, oh, these guys really like care about us. So he opts to like get on the spaceship, and as he's getting on, his friend comes up. He's like, no, don't get on the ship. Don't do it. And turns around, like, what the fuck's your problem? He's like, To Serve Man. It's a cookbook.
Yeah.
It's a cookbook. And he's like, oh, they drag him on. It's fucking great. Fucking great. That's like the fusion of like the psychological blending alien. You know?
Yeah.
Really, it's just the great zeitgeist in.
I don't feel like we could taste that good. There's got to be better shit out
people
there.
were supposed to taste like pig. Yeah, like the fucking tribes in Papua New Guinea and shit. Like their term for human is like long pig.
Long pig. Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. I've seen some pigs. They're fucking pretty big.
Dude, if I taste like bacon, that's my funeral plans have changed immediately, is what I'm saying.
Are you aching? Bum, 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 for some bacon. That was Timon and Pumbaa. Sorry. You could be a big pig too.
Is that really what they say? Yeah. Oh God.
That's when you know, Timon and Pumbaa do like the self-sacrifice to distract the hyenas. So
I
that
haven't
Simba
watched
can.
that since it came out.
Yeah, well, whatever. You're fucking up, man.
I'm not. I get it.
Anyhow, so 1947, Roswell, New Mexico, right? The official story is a high-altitude balloon crashes and is recovered.
Remember how we were talking like a few days ago, how I was like trying not to be such a fucking cynical asshole all the time? Like I'm trying to like keep tabs
It's never
on like,
gonna work.
like how often I'm just a jaded prick.
Yeah.
And I was talking about how I'm like really trying to work on it.
That's why I'm eating mushrooms all the
I'm
time.
not doing a good job. I just shit all over the Lion King.
I just shit.
I just shit all over the Lion King without even saying anything about the Lion King. I just like everything about my. You know what? It doesn't matter.
You're nothing. I just spent the past week.
I'm nothing. Oh, excuse
You're
me.
nothing. I just spent the past week
Abusive.
with my mother, and I love my mother very much. And again, if she's listening, fuck you, mom. But like, talk about a cranky old bitch. Like,
Oh yeah.
I couldn't tell 73 or something. Just oh boy,
I love my mom to death,
will
and I feel the
not
same
stop
way.
fucking complaining.
Also, my mom's 73.
Jesus Christ, dude. And I'm a cranky boy, middle-aged man. Of course, I got some things that I hate. Immigrants.
Jesus Christ!
Joking. I love immigrants.
Fucking hell!
I was just thinking, like, what is a basic?
What's gonna set me off with an immigrant mother?
I was like, what's an American middle-aged guy fucking pissed off about? I like immigrants. I hope we get more of them.
We are.
Good. Fuck yeah. Great. Cool. More. Bring more. But no,
you're
just like
gonna make the white guys mad.
I can complain about it. Fuck them. Those are the ones I don't like.
Yeah.
Speaking as the white representative in the room, you can suck my dick. That's actually something that we kind of have to talk about later. White supremacy tied in with fucking alien shit. Because
What are they? What?
Yeah, no,
The white supremacists are.
there's a whole thing where like the ancient aliens crowd that's like fucking, oh, aliens had to build the pyramids. Because why? Because the Egyptians were brown? Maybe? Like, yeah, there's no way.
I was going the other way with it. I was like thinking like the white supremacists are like, aliens can't exist because who could be smarter than fucking us white guys? Like,
no,
they can't build. If we can't build spaceships, can't build no fucking goddamn motherfucking alien build no fucking spaceship. What are they, blue or some shit? Fuck that. White power.
Fuck that. No, yeah. So no, in the white supremacist narrative, it's white aliens that built the pyramids.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 100%.
Just guys that look just like you came out.
That's the whole thing. White people may be the superior race put on Earth as a superior entity.
Fucking kill myself.
That's why we've been able to colonize so rapidly, because it's in our DNA, because we're alien people, but we come from a planet of completely white Joe Rogan fans.
Oh my god!
Turns out Joe actually is the head alien.
Jesus Christ! Yeah, bunch of guys marched off a fucking spaceship in fucking Levi jeans and fucking camo vests.
Just fucking Born in the USA playing in the background.
Sipping on camo Busch Light cans.
Sucking on chili dogs.
Sucking on chili dogs. And fucking taught. Yeah. That's how the Mayans.
Out of the way, everybody. American aliens.
That's how the Incans built Machu Picchu. There's no other explanation.
Well, one of the better theories about Machu Picchu is the people disappeared quickly, and the theory is that the aliens that helped them build it helped them fuck off from the planet. And it occurs to me, they lived in the jungle. And on a mountain. On a mountain right at the edge of the Amazon, baby. Feel like they might have just gone down. And hey, I'll catch you guys later, and just fucked off into the jungle.
Yeah, yeah, there's also the whole possibility that this is a religious site, so we don't live here.
There's a giant army of crazy white people with swords and guns wearing suits made of metal coming up the mountain.
Funny metal helmets.
They're coming up the mountain, and apparently they've been slaughtering everyone.
Yeah.
What should we do? Oh, I don't know. Let's call the aliens to get us the fuck out of here. Yeah. No, we're just going to go the other side of the mountain.
The thing is, they didn't even slaughter that well. The thing is, how they slaughtered was by giving everybody communicable diseases that nobody was fucking equipped to fight. That's how they wiped out, even Native Americans in this country.
Truly brilliant. Truly brilliant strategy. Sneezing on shit.
Jesus Christ.
So after the War of the Worlds, the hook's set. People are fucking kind of alien hungry anyway. There's a huge renaissance for sci-fi. Happens after that. You get Arthur C. Clarke. Fucking not quite Asimov yet, but Harlan Ellison and all these other really great sci-fi writers. Frank Herbert, shit like that. Fucking Starship Troopers guy, Heinlein. They're all just throwing down, let's write shit, and they're just letting
great
it.
Shit too.
And they write great shit, but they're just fucking laying into it. So sci-fi is way at the forefront.
I could probably read Dune right now for the fucking probably 7th time in my life, and probably still be fuck yeah.
And then in 1947, the Roswell, New Mexico thing, which is still.
What year was that?
That's 1947. Yeah, you think it'd be later? 47? You'd have figured it was the 60s, right?
It feels like
1947. That's where.
So immediately after World War II.
That's exactly. So that right there, people are what's the next big thing?
I always thought it was early 60s.
Hey, we just fought the war to end all wars. What's the next war? Space, right? So people are already living in. People are already living in retro-futuristic.
We were
homes.
already looking sideways at the Russians at that point.
People are living in retro-futuristic homes. You had all this fucking sci-fi shit kicking, and then fucking Roswell drops. This is where you get the FBI Men in Black cover-up aesthetic, the X-Files aesthetic of the fucking sunglasses and the shit.
Jesus Christ!
Because that's your G-men. That's the G-men from the 40s and 50s.
People are just fucking stupid.
People's dumber than fuck.
People is dumber than fuck.
But yeah, so the main story is a high altitude balloon crash. I'm not going to go down the fucking Roswell rabbit hole because
was the balloon crash Roswell adjacent?
That is what it is. It was a fucking high altitude balloon crash. It was a weather balloon.
Oh, is that what
that's what the crash was?
Oh, really?
Or that's the
story from the
But
Air
then
Force.
also if I wanted to, I could go crazy as shit on this because this is where it starts. This is where the conspiracy world starts.
Right.
Because the government's no, nah. But we just watched the government drop a bomb that can level an entire city.
That's true.
Right? Like we're like, oh no,
Twice.
science.
Not once,
we got
twice.
science that good, but we can't do a weather balloon, right?
Yeah.
It's so big that it's fucking noticeable miles away. People see it happen. It's like a whole big deal.
I mean, so yes, so there's a lot of like really cool shit behind the psychology of conspiracy theories, but basically just sort of whittled down, it's that when something that's so potentially altering to our realities, things like the president being assassinated, or just,
Yeah, I mean, that's
like
fucking 5-6 years after Roswell.
it's easier.
No. Sorry, I know that's
I was gonna say,
13.
that's
That's
right.
15 years after.
Yeah.
It was Dallas 63.
63?
63.
I thought it was 64, but whatever. Anyway,
What a fucking bonkers ass period of time we're talking about, from like directly before World War II to the 1960s.
oh fuck yeah.
Insane.
And then-
everyone's crazy as shit. The style is fucking
And then
popping
from
up.
the 60s to
money everywhere.
then look at the 60s to the 80s, like to when the 80s
That's the big
started.
decline. That's where shit's starting to get fucking bonkers weird.
And that's when
And then finally the crash in the last half of the 80s into the 90s.
how many serial killers were there from like 65 to 80?
Oh, the ones just that we know about. That's
Yeah.
like, because that's the whole thing.
65 to 85, I'd say, is like
Did you see Mindhunter?
maybe.
Mindhunter is it's like it's a show on Netflix about the birth of the criminal investigation unit dedicated to what they call sequence killers.
That's not the actual.
It's based off of the book.
That's not a documentary. That's a dramatization.
It's a drama. It's a series, but it's based
that
off of.
in my queue. I don't have it.
Watch the shit out of that.
Yeah.
You're gonna watch that first episode, and you're going to then watch both seasons right back to back.
Okay.
Yeah, guaranteed.
Yeah.
I watched it recently. Actually, I was on a trip. I was in Maine. I had a whole weekend. I watched them all in one weekend.
Hell yeah.
Fucking awesome.
But I mean, like from 65 to 85, that's when you had like just fucking gratuitous amounts of serial killers.
Yeah, I mean, well, that we could catch because the science is catching up. But that's
Yeah.
that's because of J. Edgar Hoover.
Well, 86 is when DNA evidence started being.
Well, this whole steamrolling
it was
operation,
86.
this is really, I think, the meat of what I'm trying to come across with this
What about
episode.
the potatoes?
God damn it. No, I think really what I want to illustrate more than anything is that I think that the superfluous nature of alien invasion stories, or otherwise just extraterrestrial interaction stories in popular fiction and in conspiracy, without really being based in fact, is based on a certain sort of madness or like emotional hardening that happened in our collective societies from like essentially from World War II onward.
Right.
Because this is the golden age of the alien shit. Some of the best alien invasion stories come out of the 80s. The 80s is notoriously one of the most jaded and cynical eras in pop culture. Every movie. Look at the fucking...
That explains a lot.
I mean, no, seriously. Like, think of, like...
I was born in 81.
One of the fucking best portrayals of aliens coming out of the 80s. You got fucking Predator.
Okay.
Right?
I was going to say, fucking, what's the Spielberg movie?
E.T.?
No, Close Encounters.
Oh, yeah. Close Encounters. Not very jaded. That's a very hopeful one. That's an interesting one.
Yeah. What's the one where he gets probed?
There's a probed movie? Are you talking about Independence Day in the 90s?
No.
It was like, in the
this was
words
a
of my
weird-
generation.
I'm gonna shut it down because I'm gonna have to look it up. But
Okay.
there was a weird fucking movie I remember seeing when I was a kid, and the guy gets abducted. There's some real weird shit, and I remember specific parts of the movie watching it, and I cannot remember the name of the movie off the top of my head, but I'll figure it out.
Well, all in all, like, if you look at after Roswell, like the idea of Roswell being a conspiracy, that an alien crash landed, that there's an alien device, Area 51, all
Right,
of this,
that they have
all
the
of this
alien's body
manifests itself over the course of 5 years or so and becomes a worldwide sensation. Like, it's super like popular all across the world that America has fucking aliens.
Right.
And that's not to say that other countries don't have this exact same sort of thing
don't.
happening.
America first, baby.
Russia has multiple like dark sites that people have said are alien landing sites. I mean, you think fucking The Tunguska blast.
I mean, you would imagine, honestly, to the point about the Russian thing, you would imagine that were aliens to come to the planet, they would probably fly in near the poles.
I mean, yeah, I guess it would make some sense. I don't know. Fuck. It's cold there.
Well, because you look at how commercial flights go, and normally if you take a commercial flight that's say like around the world, they usually go way up north as high as they can go, because then as you go around the circumference, it's faster to get around the world up here than it is around the equator.
Yes. I would argue that they might actually stop at the top of the Earth, which, contrary to popular belief, is actually America. It's where the sun shines on us. So the United States of America. Tilt the planet. That's us right at the top, baby.
I don't like this joke. I really don't like this joke. I fucking hate it every goddamn second.
So like
of that.
the cynicism is so palpable from the time that like Roswell happens onward.
Right.
Because like we start out with fucking these movies, these pop culture. Like I even brought my prop today that you can't see on the radio, obviously. But I brought some of my collected comic books, Weird Fantasy from EC Comics in the 40s and 50s. You like looking through that, it's like a huge.
Also, you're ventriloquist still.
Oh yeah, don't forget Sandy Kovacs, which I also put my hand up like a fucking.
You
puppet.
did it again. I saw you do it. I wasn't going to call you out a second time, but you did put your fucking hand up again like you were working a puppet.
No, what it is, I held up my hand as though I was working a puppet, and then used my other hand to present it.
I didn't see that part.
I was like, oh yeah, don't forget.
I
Sandy.
did not see that part. That's fucking funny as shit.
But in Weird Fantasy, you've got elements of horror and comedy and just cool sci-fi stuff. But at the same time that's coming out, fucking Tales from the Crypt is also coming out, the comic book from the same exact producers, which is almost flat, just dark horror, creepy
Yeah.
shit. And they're the two top-selling comic books in the nation. They're beating out Superman. Like, this shit's fucking flying off the shelves.
Yeah.
Because people are tying the two together.
People like weird shit.
Exactly. But the cynicism of the horror genre seeping into sci-fi starts really getting out there. The alien movies that you get in the 60s are movies like The Day the Earth Stood Still, or This Island Earth, or Forbidden Planet.
God, This Island Earth.
This Island Earth fucking rules, and that's where you see the Mars Attacks aliens for the first time, the big brains.
The Mystery Science Theater version of This Island Earth rules.
We're gonna talk about some of these movies when we get to our fucking late night horror host episode.
If you have never seen Mystery Science Theater, period, then please watch not the reboot, not the Netflix reboot.
Reboot's not bad.
Was it not?
Yeah, it's fun. It's the same guys as the Mads.
Yeah, but it's a different host. I feel like even when they went from Joel to Mike, I was kind of like, it took me a while to warm up to Mike, and then they did this new guy. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, but if you look at those,
if you've never watched MST3K, which is Mystery Science Theater 3000, please just fucking go and watch it. If you've never seen This Island Earth, definitely go and watch that one too.
Watch Earth versus the Flying Saucers. That's
Manos Hands of Fate.
That's a fucking good one. I think The Day the Earth Stood Still is like one of the better ones, because that one, the alien is a person. He's just a human guy.
Did you ever see Mitchell with Joe Don Baker?
I don't think so.
Oh my fucking God, dude. That might be my favorite MST3K.
But the Day the Earth Stood Still is this guy, Klaatu, comes down, standard flying saucer, right? Lands, comes out, his name's Klaatu. He's like, yo, you guys are fucking up. we're gonna have to take over the planet a little bit. Yo, what up? What up? And everyone's kind of like, hey, why don't you suck our dicks? And he goes, I would, but I happen to have this super powerful killer robot named Gort. And Gort is just a big mechanical man with a visor. The visor opens and he fucking melts steel and guns and shit.
I feel like I've seen this. Did they do a Mystery Science on that one too?
Probably. It's super famous. One of the best ones. They did a Keanu Reeves reboot in the 90s.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. The fun fact on this one that a lot of people don't know that I really like is that in the movie Army of Darkness, Bruce Campbell, the magic words that Ash is supposed to say to collect the Book of the Dead are Klaatu Barada Nikto. That's the code that turns off Gort from kill mode in This Island Earth.
Hell yeah.
Because Klaatu is the guy. And so he like shoots Klaatu. Of course, just like, all right, well, that's a fucking kill everyone on Earth then. And he's like, you gotta tell him this shit.
I feel like,
and those movies are the real, like, those are your good black and white, like, ooh,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Ed Wood style, fucking like just
Yeah.
like hubcaps
Oh
as
my
flying
God,
saucers.
yeah.
Like
Those
that's
Ed
my
Wood
shit.
movies are rad.
I love that shit.
Yeah. Brian used to have the Ed Wood box set. I don't know if he still does,
they're
but we watched
great.
all those
Plan
fucking
9 from
movies.
Outer
Yeah.
Space, Glenn or Glenda. Hell yeah.
But I was gonna say it's funny because we talk about how like you have like I have an okay amount of movie knowledge. You have way more. But there's no argument about it.
It's because I just get so much pussy.
But like, is that what it is?
Ladies love Cool Riley.
Had I not, had I known, shit, I would have gotten more pussy.
That's how you do
and
it.
Then I'd have
You gotta
more
watch.
movie
You gotta
knowledge.
watch the Ed Wood box set, and then just
You have, goddamn
panties
it.
just dropping.
But
You gotta be able to distinguish between Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff, and then you got it.
I don't know.
You gotta
I'm
know.
Not confident in that
you
one.
gotta know who animated the fucking spaceships in Earth versus the Flying Saucers.
Nope, don't know that one.
Ray Harryhausen.
But
Classic.
We were sitting here talking about Mystery Science Theater, and I was like, I know these movies because of Mystery Science Theater, and I was like, oh my God, is every old movie I've ever watched just a shitty B movie that they did a Mystery Science Theater episode on?
Yeah, kind of.
And the answer is yeah, pretty much. Because I've never watched I've never watched Casablanca.
Casablanca's great.
I've never watched it.
I have watched the shit out
I've
of
never
Casablanca.
watched fucking what's the one with
Gone with the Wind. You're gonna say Gone with the Wind. Gone with the Wind sucks.
Yeah.
Gone with the Wind's a
with
big
Scarlett O'Hara and
big
Brett-
wet
yeah.
sack of shit.
Yeah, I've never watched that. There's so many old like classics, you know,
Yeah,
all these
well,
old
that's the
fucking
problem.
Cary Grant
The
movies.
problem
and
is
shit,
that
and I'm
like half of them are fucking unbelievably cool, and the other are just garbage.
well, I just don't like. I've never watched fucking the one with Rosebud,
Oh, Citizen Kane.
Citizen Kane. Yeah.
Great movie.
Never watched it.
Fantastic flick.
Probably won't ever watch it.
It's top of the list. One of the best movies of all time.
Okay.
I mean, it's not gonna be your favorite, but it's cool.
I feel
you know what,
like
the thing about-
there's a time and a place, and I feel like I'm outside of it.
It was 1941.
There's a time and a place.
It
and I
was
feel like I'm just
during
not there.
it was during the political circle of William
And
Randolph.
by the way,
Hearst.
I already know it's the fucking sled. So you know, like I don't. Just,
That's
like,
not the.
it's-
There's no twist. It's
There's no twist.
just a movie. That's
I
not a
thought
fucking
Rosebud.
twist.
He's talking about Rosebud, and they're like, and then at the
You
end,
know-
it
do you
turns
know
out
the-
it's just a
the-
fucking sled.
Do you know the hook on like Rosebud? Like why the Orson Welles used that as the guy's last words? Because the movie is kind of a parody or a what's the word? It's not parody. Parody is like funny. Lampoon.
Metaphor.
A lampoon. It's a bit of
Okay.
a no. That's a comedy too. Fucking the other one.
A metaphor.
Whatever. It's an associated understanding story of William Randolph Hearst,
It's
the
a
big
metaphor.
yellow journalist. Sure, yeah, metaphor. No, it's not. It's a fucking.
Tell me the thing.
Anyway,
and then
William
we'll figure out the
Randolph
word
Randolph Hearst
together.
was like the most powerful person in the fucking world.
Okay.
He had this media empire.
Okay.
And Mankiewicz, the guy who wrote Citizen Kane with Orson Welles, found out somewhere that Randolph Hearst called his girlfriend's vagina Rosebud. So in the send up that they're doing when his last words are Rosebud, it was a message like directly for William Randolph Hearst, like a fuck you.
Like we know that you call your girlfriend's pussy
fucking,
Rosebud.
Yeah, exactly. You fucking perv.
Ugh.
Yeah, but it's they don't.
In what
they don't
context
say that
would
in
you
the movie.
use that? Gross.
My little Rosebud. It's a lecherous old fuck banging some like hot young actress.
How's that Rosebud feeling?
Yeah, sure.
Gross.
Massive movie mogul,
Gross.
journalist,
That's so
billionaire.
Gross.
Yeah. But I digress. So
I remember when I was a kid, we found an abandoned bus out in the woods, and in it were a bunch of like porn novels. Like novels, like
porn in
like
the woods. Yeah,
everybody's got a porn in the woods story.
everyone's
I know.
got a porn in the woods. Story.
Well, I don't
that's one of my
think-
favorite fucking
I don't
theories
think-
ever. Like that's like it's no longer a thing.
I don't think quote unquote kids these days
now that like
find porn in the woods anymore. 'Cause they've
literature's
got
out
iPhones.
literature's out the window these days. You know, nobody reads anymore.
Printed porn is dead.
Yeah. But yeah, we were kids. Everybody found porn in the woods.
There was a
the
book.
aliens.
There was a book, and I remember there was a book that I read and,
The Lusty Barmaid.
and probably tugged many
The Lusty,
out to-
was it
I
Lusty
don't remember the name
Aragonian
of it.
Maid?
I don't remember the name of it. Wasn't like overtly sexual, but you know it was basically like it was like a Harlequin romance novel, but with like way more like detailed descriptions of what was going on. But one of the guys in the fucking in the book kept calling this girl's vagina his honey box.
Honey box.
And I just remember being like, weird. Why would you ever say that to another
Gross
human?
fucking thing to say.
Your honey box.
Hey, let me in that honey box.
Yeah, and it was like real, like explicit shit like that. Well, of course, it was a fucking porn book, so yeah, it was very explicit all the way around. But yeah,
One of the guys in the
like, how does that make your honey box feel? And I'm like, what?
sticky. One of the guys that was writing like cool, weird, subversive sci-fi shit. Because again, these comic books, like weird fantasy and shit, they were publishing cool underground stories from like well-known artists and writers like Ray Harryhausen had a fucking new alien story in a comic book.
That's the guy that animated the UFOs for.
Oh shit! I'm not.
Damn it!
I'm thinking that was you got me. It was Ray Harryhausen. Ray Bradbury is the guy.
Ray Bradbury. I know that guy.
They were contemporaries. They were friends.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact.
I'm gonna kick you right in your Harryhausen.
Get me in your Harry box.
Harry.
But Ray Bradbury was always writing like some new cool fucking fear of the void sci-fi story.
Yeah. Bradbury was rad.
He did this great one called "Come Into My Cellar." That's about it's about kids getting a spore aliened over like they breathe some shit and the spores like turn them into like hive mind characters because they're ordering like mushroom growing kits from the back of magazines. And like
and the aliens got into that.
I always loved the idea of like the alien scheme to take over the world starts with like the back of like a fucking Boy Scout magazine or some shit. And it's like, yeah, buy this fucking buy these magic crystals.
Some Popular Science magazine.
Yeah, a kid gets a kit of some shit and puts it on his windowsill, puts water in it, and then like a few days later he's an alien brain.
And that was the aliens' whole scheme. They're like,
great.
this is how we'll get them.
You get that, and you get the fucking the
Smart kids are all getting Popular Science. Putting that out, we send the spores.
That one put them out with some sea monkeys. Back in the day with printed literature, baby, you could fucking buy anything. There's all kinds of shit in the back of magazines, including porn. You could buy more porn.
That's true.
You know,
that's true.
But one of the guys who was knocking out these cool stories in the 60s and 70s was Kurt Vonnegut. You know, one of his favorite conceits was that in his world that he built in his stories, the greatest writer of all time, the sci-fi writer Kilgore Trout. Yeah. Right? He got his name out there and got like money to live on by selling his stories to pornographic like just to porn books.
That's right. I remember, yeah.
You know, so his story, you know, Lost and Forlorn on Planet X9 would be published under the title Wide Open Beavers. And it'd just be like these like beautiful
God damn it, Vonnegut's so
these
good.
beautiful stories. And he'd go like 4 pages of just like the best writing you'd ever read, and then there'd just be like a spread eagle Asian woman.
Kurt Vonnegut was so goddamn good, dude.
That's just great.
Cat's Cradle is...
That's still probably my favorite like Armageddon story.
Such a good book.
Okay, so
do you want to talk about an actual
I do,
incident?
Because like, what I have after this is a long list of movies.
Okay. No, we're talking about alien invasion. Well, so it's difficult because there are so many UFO sightings, quote unquote, out there. But I mean, it's difficult to whittle them down to like shit that actually makes you think like, versus shit that's just wacky versus shit that just maybe was a little too this or that, the other. You know, there's shit that gets buried and I don't fucking know. Like I looked through some stuff and I was like, I knew you were taking point on most of this, so I was like, I'm gonna let Riley do
I was taking porno on most of this?
Point.
Okay.
In 1966, in Dexter, Michigan.
Hey, that's my middle name.
That's your middle name in your home state.
Just the Dexter part.
Dexter, Michigan.
It's Riley Dexter, Michigan. No,
it's Dexter, Michigan, which is outside of Detroit by, I don't know, a little
I have no fucking idea where Dexter, Michigan is, actually.
Well, you have a whole ass computer in front of your face. So...
That's me typing.
So what's funny is that, okay, it's funny and it's whatever. 56 years ago, right, there was a lot of UFO eyewitness accounts of some shit that happened there, right? And it ended up getting dismissed as quote unquote marsh gas. Is it? It might be closer to Ann Arbor. Is it closer to Ann
No,
Arbor?
dude, it's 50 miles from Detroit.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what the fuck?
Yeah, it's right there.
That's where I'm from, is the Detroit area.
Yeah.
Not from Detroit. If you're one of my friends listening
Jesus
from there,
Christ, just
you
say you're
shut the fuck up.
I'm one of your friends sitting in this room from you. Sitting in this room from you.
Sitting in this room from me. I am sitting in room.
From you. Sitting in this room with you, and you're from fucking Detroit. Get over it. So 56 years ago, there was this whole big thing, like multiple eyewitness accounts of UFO activity. Now, I'm going to go on the record immediately and say I don't believe in UFOs as sort of like, little green men coming down. And like
sorry to break in here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Of the 15 best things to do in Dexter, Michigan, 3 of the first 5 are just to visit farms.
Is it where the UFO stuff happened? Is there marsh gas?
No.
Because it all got dismissed as quote unquote marsh gas, right?
That's a really popular trope throughout sci-fi, probably because of this exact one. Because it'd be like, even in the movie Men in Black, what's fucking Tommy Lee Jones' big line is like, some swamp gas caught the light reflecting from Venus.
That's because of this story. This is the only time that it's ever been dismissed.
That's
as
cool.
that.
I like that.
But that's from this story. So I'm going to give you a little context here, right? So March 20th, 1966, in Dexter Township, right? Frank Manor and his son Ronald live on a farm, and they see colored lights hovering over like a swampy area of their farm. The 2 men run toward the object, right? And Frank Manor calls the police. So police come out, they write a report. It basically says Frank Manor and his son, they saw...
It says Frank's drunk again.
Yeah, right? Well, here's the thing. The police report states Frank Manor and his son Ronald, and then in parentheses, plus 40 to 60 others, including 12 policemen.
Oh.
Yeah. Saw hovering over a swamp about 1,500 feet away, a brown luminous car-sized object with a scaly or waffled surface, cone-shaped on the top, flat on the bottom, or football-shaped, so kind of like this,
Mm-hmm. I mean, kind of like a saucer, kind of a saucery.
Exactly like a saucer. And 2 bluish-green lights on the right and left edges that turn bright red and helped illuminate the object in between. Lights blinked out, and the object reappeared instantly across the swamp 1,500 feet away. The whole object lit up a yellowish glow at one point and also rose up 500 feet and then descended again. After 2 to 3 minutes of viewing, so 2 to 3 minutes when you're like, what the fuck? That's a long time.
How did 40 to 60 people... Was this like in the center of town? Like this was...
No, it's at Frank's farm.
Was Frank having a fucking party?
Frank Manor's farm. Hang on. Well, dude, we're going to get there. We're going to get there, right? After 2 to 3 minutes of viewing, when 2 flashlights appeared in the distance, the object seemed to respond by flying away at high speed directly over the witnesses with a whistling sound like a rifle bullet ricocheting.
Hold on a second. Was it like R2-D2?
I think it's just a pew. Like a rifle bullet ricocheting.
Oh, so it went like... Pew, pew.
Yeah. So the object remained in the swamp area for approximately a half an hour.
Hold on.
right?
Are you ready? Hold on.
It's so stupid.
I didn't do that. Sandy Koufax did.
A half an hour is what they're saying, roughly. That's how long it was there, right? So, at the time, U.S. Air Force, still U.S. Air Force, was in charge of investigating shit like that. And they sent a guy named Dr. Alan Hynek, right, to Dexter Township to investigate what was going on.
A spook, you mean?
Well...
They sent a government agent. Was he wearing a black suit? Was he wearing sunglasses?
No, he was not...
I'm Dr. Hynek. I'm here to investigate the people.
He didn't work for the government. He was, at the time, the leading ufologist in
the alien liaison,
the U.S.
But there's that's where the 60s, right? You had ufologists kicking around that in event of a fucking flying saucer sighting, they'd be like, hey, let's get Dr. Heinen and we can ship him out like fucking Fox Mulder.
So fucking scores of credible eyewitnesses saw flying objects that night. Like we said, 40 to 60 people, right? The Dexter sighting was just one of many in the southeast Michigan for 2 weeks in March 1966. So over the course of 2 weeks, there were multiple sightings, right? Mm-hmm. But the Dexter incident drew national attention and was a turning point that thrust UFOs in the public spotlight. So enter this whole Dr. J. Allen Hynek. He came in. He talked to eyewitnesses. He talked to Robert Manor and his son and all these. It was Robert Manor? Frank Manor and his son.
Reginald.
Talked to them.
Ronald.
He had
Ronald. That's it, yeah.
So he had like initially he was very much like something's going on there, right? And then at some point after Dr. Hynek had talked to people and sort of like the way he was acting was like there's something going on here, right? He went back to wherever, police station, something like that, and kind of like went into an office and took a call. And then he came back and almost immediately said, there's nothing going on here. It was just swamp gas. Referring to sort of like, like sometimes swamps, like all the detritus and stuff, all the dead like leaves and all that shit will, the gas will form up and it'll sort of pop up out of the swamp and ignite briefly. And it looks like little lights. And sometimes it's like for a few seconds,
that's real.
sometimes
That's
for several
something
minutes.
that really exists.
Swamp gas really exists.
But I mean, I don't know, man. Like not to be conspiratorial, but I've actually seen that phenomenon, and it's a quick like,
right. Yeah. And so, and sometimes they can last for several minutes. Like sometimes they stay sort of, but according to Ray Szymanski, author of, again, the book Swamp Gas My Ass.
Which is about the extraordinary true story of two highly decorated U.S. Air Force fighter interceptor pilots fully enmeshed in America's hidden military history. Together, they intercepted the world-famous 1966 Michigan swamp gas UFO in supersonic F-106 jets.
Jesus Christ.
Which I feel like is not the thrilling true story of anything.
I don't know about all that. But so basically the quote is, I believe the reports are incorrect, claiming that the Manners only got within claiming that the Manners, so the Manners, whenever the cops got there, said they got within about 500 yards of the object, right? Mm-hmm. And they said it was about as big as a car.
What kind of car? Are we talking like a Dachshund?
Any car in 1966 is about the same goddamn size.
What about like a Maserati?
I don't know that.
Maserati be small, it's Italian.
Okay.
We're talking like
American car. We're talking about
we're talking like a fucking like a Ford Fairlane.
We're 50 miles outside of Detroit, Michigan. What kind of cars do you think they're talking about?
Car, yeah. Fucking Chrysler 4-door.
Yeah, exactly. So basically the cops come out and they say, the sheriff was saying, we got to call out to their
damn it, Ronald.
We got to call out to the Manners farm, and
Ronald's been lighting the swamp gas again.
We got to call that Manners out in Dexter seen a UFO. Is what the sheriff said.
That's not Michigan talk.
I don't care. That's how it is right now.
We got to call out there
to seen a UFO. Then
we got to call out to their Manor farm again, there, Chief. I think Ronald there might have been stealing the hooch, if you know what I'm saying.
So he says
he seems a little hide up.
So he says, the sheriff says he went out there.
Something about little green men there, Chief.
The sheriff says he went out there, and the grass was flat in a round circle, and they saw an object come down and lift off, right? So what Frank Manor told the reporters later was, we got about 500 yards, within about 500 yards of the thing. It was sort of shaped like a pyramid with a blue-green light on the right-hand side, and on the left, a white light. I didn't see no antenna or porthole. The body was like a yellowish coral rock and looked like it had holes in it. Sort of like if you took a piece of cardboard box and split it open. So like a honeycomb sort of pattern almost. Yeah.
So like kind of like a perforated sort of like wavy kind of structure. That's interesting.
Yeah. So like a yellowish coral rock is how he described it. You couldn't see it too good because it was surrounded with heat waves like you see in the desert. The white light turned to a blood red as we got close to it, And Ron, his son, said, "Look at that horrible thing." So the police report, like I said before, says that Frank Manor and his son, plus 40 to 60 other people, including 12 officers, saw the thing hovering there, and it went, and then it did the whole lights turn in, went up, went down, and pew, off. Right?
That's fucking wild. Can you?
That is wild.
Think of this as like a movie, right? Mm-hmm. Like it just starts out just regular old farm life living, and then there's just a 8-minute sequence where there's an undeniable UFO fucking hanging out at somebody's house, and then that's gone, and they just have to go back to living their life. Like, what the fuck? 40 to 60 people are like, no, that was from the outer space.
So here's what I was looking for before. So Professor Hynek comes out.
We know now that there are monsters in space.
Professor Hynek was like the leading ufologist at the time.
Ufologist, we call him.
Ufologist. So he came. So this was the sheriff again, quoting. Professor Hynek came out to our jail and introduced himself. He said, "I'm from Washington, and I've come down here to inspect that site about the UFO." So I drove him there, and he looked at it and talked to the Manners. He got back in the car, and I said, "What do you think?" He said, "I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know. Something was there." Right? As soon as we got back to the jail, he had a call from Washington. He went into my office. 20 minutes later, he comes out of my office, and he says, by the way, the press was there during this. He says,
"Who leaked it to the press? God damn it."
He says, "We have definitely discovered that it was swamp gas." So this is the sheriff again saying Hynek had suddenly gone from "I really don't know what it is" to "it was swamp gas" in a matter of minutes. And that's where it died. So, under public pressure for an explanation, he basically explains that like the recent sightings were mistaken observations of the moon and stars at a press conference. The Dexter sighting and the Manners and one in Hillside were swamp gas. Marsh swamp gas is produced by rotting vegetation, blah, 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 right? So the Manners, Frank Manor, never accepted that. He said, quote, "I spent time on Army maneuvers in the swamps in Louisiana during World War II. I've seen plenty of swamp gas. This wasn't it. What we saw. All right." He's basically like, nah, this is what we saw. 10 years after the Dexter UFO sightings, Hynek wrote a book called the Hynek UFO Report about the Air Force's strategy to cover up unexplained and aerial phenomena.
Now I'd be interested in reading that. I don't know about swamp gas my ass so much. That sounds like something that somebody would write about, like Dale Earnhardt, fucking flying into space.
The Hynek UFO Report, which is about the Air Force's strategy to cover up unexplained aerial phenomena. He explains that sharp intra-agency disagreements brought the Air Force to a hardened stance that, given our advanced scientific knowledge, these sightings' very nature and purported behavior had to be complete nonsense. So basically,
sounds like a bunch of commie bullshit to me.
Basically, the explanation was, once the decision's made that UFOs had to be figments of people's imagination, the Air Force's policy on UFOs never changed direction. It can't be there, therefore it isn't there, right?
Well, I mean, that is the mainstay of the government stance on aliens for forever. Like that's what we said that earlier in the show. It's like it's that simple. The governmental stance is that there is no evidence nor any like probable reality in which we can say we've made contact with alien life forms. But that's a fucking perfect segue actually into the contemporary kind of like revelations that have been handed out lately. Like, I mean, people have been seeing UFOs and dealing with unidentified flying objects of varying kinds for
a fucking long time.
We're talking thousands of years. People have been seeing shit, Like,
absolutely.
There's a big case to be made for even more ancient civilizations, seeing some shit flying around,
right,
whether they call it a dragon or a fucking golden god or an angel. It doesn't, whatever. There's always the, ancient astronauts kind of idea of fucking visitors coming down from Earth.
Yeah.
But more recently, we have seen a lot, and I mean like a lot, of governmental agencies kind of cooperating and compiling these reports.
It's funny you talked about that.
Well, one of my favorites here is the Department of Defense released this report from the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. So in March 6th of 2024, just recently, it was released for open publication, a report on the historical record of U.S. government involvement with unidentified anomalous phenomena. So not just flyy shit, but also things like swamp gas explosions
Right.
or things that are not like particularly solved. And it seems to deal, it's about 65 pages. It seems to deal pretty specifically with varying coded CIA projects that like have been grabbed and shut down and quieted down real quick.
So I think a lot of times when people see these sort of, UAPs / UFOs, whatever you want to call them, I think more often than not, a lot of the times you see them in near military bases.
Yeah. I mean, we do. There's here in St. Augustine, how many people have told you, like, I was driving by Northrop Grumman, I'm sorry, redacted, flying by the fucking aerospace
St. Augustine Airport
thing, and fucking saw some crazy green light zipping off from somewhere, or like...
Well, and so very frequently they're near military bases. Now, granted, this whole fucking country's peppered with them, but...
Yeah. Pretty superfluous thing to deal with, yeah.
But... Florida,
though.
Think about the number of things that, our military is constantly sort of, it's national security and it's, there's very fucking hush bullshit. They still have to test it, and we live in a country with 340 million people. And, if something's going around a military base where it's an actual, some sort of fucking program that the military is running, and they're testing this thing out. I mean, it's not crazy to say that a lot of these can be chalked up to a couple of drunk guys driving around in the country and they're testing a new aircraft, and holy shit, it's a fucking UFO.
I'll tell you, I was out there driving. I fell asleep at the wheel. I woke up. Someone was playing with my butthole.
I don't know about the probings, but
I've got a theory, but I want to end the episode at the probing. So give
we're not. We still got a couple things.
We still got some things.
We still got plenty of things.
There's plenty of stuff here. But
you just want to say
like living in Florida. I get to travel out into like the Panhandle, out to the Sarasota.
Gross.
Fucking Pensacola regions pretty often. I think it's actually pretty beautiful out there. There's natural springs, and I think the Gulf...
Sarasota's pretty.
I think the Gulf Coast is
Pensacola's not
particularly lovely in some areas, but it also gets really trashy.
Oh, big time.
Florida's got a problem with that because some areas are just gorgeous, and then trashy. Like, goddamn.
Well, anything that's not on the coast.
Yeah, I prefer it to, like, say, like South Carolina, which is, like, specifically just trashy all the way through almost.
Yeah, South Carolina, you could be fucking a mile from the coast.
Yeah, or you could be in fucking downtown Charleston and still just be like, oh, this place is fucking gross.
Last time I was in Charleston,
if you're wondering if I'm talking shit about the actual state of South Carolina, the answer is yes.
Yeah, he is.
They can suck my ass.
Yeah, fix your fucking roads, dude.
Yeah, fuck you.
Send somebody out to pave I-95. It's one of the biggest corridors that goes north to south and goes the whole fucking
2 lanes.
The whole
fucking kidding me?
2 lanes and goddamn potholes, dude. The second you go from fucking Christ. Georgia to South Carolina, it goes 2 lanes.
Okay.
And then once you get into fucking North Carolina.
Was that the ASMR that we were doing earlier?
And then once you get through South Carolina and into North Carolina, it's back to 3 or 4 lanes wide. And
it is weird. It's weird that there's been no infrastructure there. But I mean, South Carolina,
they don't give a shit about
as much as I want to talk shit about the state. It is a particularly depressed place. I think there's a lot of for some reason I feel like they were really popping off something like 150 years ago. I don't know why, but like something happened.
Let's call it 100. Let's call it 160.
Yeah, like 150, 160 years ago.
Or about 160.
You drive through the center of South Carolina, you see like these like big, beautiful mansions, all dilapidated.
Oh man, they've got beautiful Doric columns.
They have these great. Yeah, these big columns, like rows of trees. Looks like fields that might have like had like some sort of a big crop. Like they could have made a lot of money.
Yourself, God, that must have cost a lot of money to maintain all this.
You must like paying your employees for a place with that much property must have been wild. So yeah, like some
your payroll alone,
150, 160 years ago, it looks like something really cut the legs out from under.
Did minimum wage go up or something? What happened?
Must have. I don't know.
Did you have a did you suddenly have an employment crisis?
I don't know. Maybe
there's suddenly a lot of people that worked there that suddenly decided they didn't want to work there anymore.
Just I don't know. It's a mystery. It's a big mystery.
It is, and somebody should go back to like the 1860s and
Yeah,
tell us what was going
investigate
on.
what happened to all those beautiful Tudic homes.
Tell us what was going on about 160 years ago.
Because it doesn't seem like they're doing so hot these days.
No,
Jeez,
you
it's a
mentioned
damn shame.
it is actually a damn shame in the South because we have so many places with all this history and all these beautiful fucking like old homes, and and so all these plantation homes are like meticulously kept up and kept beautiful and stuff.
It's crazy.
And it's a very difficult thing to square with because you go there and I mean, there's no denying it. These homes are gorgeous. They're like beautiful, and the grounds are beautiful and kept up and maintained.
It feels like,
and then you go,
if you're I've got my great grandfather's gold pocket watch that he got like when he retired from being an accountant at like 60, right?
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite heirlooms. But it'd be like if I found out that he was like a rapist, and I'm still just holding on to this watch.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's very conflicting because you're like, oh my god, this whole property is gorgeous. You know,
it's wild.
All these big, beautiful fucking oak trees and the Spanish moss.
My real feelings. I mean, like that's all over Georgia too.
No.
I will say.
That's right. Well, and it's same shit in Georgia.
I will say to Georgia's benefit. I mean, I can't wipe the slate on fucking any of these states. It's insane. But to Georgia's benefit, at the very least, they have put more time and effort into education about the past of the state than just kind of weep. If you go to Charleston, they don't talk about shit. If you go to Savannah, they've got educational tours and lectures, and they've got college classes and shit about the racism.
The last time I was in Charleston, the nicest place that I went to, because I'm fucking bar hopping, I was there for
that's Charleston. What the fuck else?
It was my sister's. Yeah, it was my sister's.
Go to a
it was
ball?
like a surprise.
They have
surprise
fucking
birthday party.
balls there.
Yeah,
that's a place you can go do like a ballroom dancing thing.
One of the nicer
with the Southern
places.
Gentiles.
Yeah, not Gentiles.
Gentiles.
Southern Gentiles. So they're not Jewish.
Yeah,
gentlemen.
Gentiles.
They're
not Jewish.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying Gentiles. Is that a thing that people used to say? The Southern Gentiles.
It's a Southern saying. Gentle.
Were there Southern Jews?
I mean, not many.
Well, so anyway, regardless of whether they're Gentiles or gentlemen, or you could be both, I guess.
The fucks, the rich fucks.
Yeah. So the last time I was there,
you said Jews so aggressively.
They're Jewish.
Then just say the way where they're Southern Jew. I love the Jewish people.
Back then, I don't think there were many Jewish people in the South. It was probably pretty.
I don't know. I'm honestly this history.
Anyway, one of the nicest places I was at in Charleston, and granted this is about 8 years ago, was a place called High Cotton.
Oh yeah,
which is a very popular place in Charleston.
Oh yeah,
and it was it felt problematic. It felt problematic because there were several black wait staff, and the clothes that are it's very much like the pressed white linens and and I'm like, this doesn't feel okay. This doesn't feel okay at all.
You know what they don't have in Charleston that they probably should have is an all white club called the Poplar Tree. Fuck South Carolina.
This was Charleston. Yeah. Yeah, it was. I was like, oh boy, this is.
Okay, I want to take it back. I don't say fuck South Carolina blanketly. That's not fair. People are people everywhere, and it's not the state that they live in that defines their humanity. I just think that
there are a lot of people who don't give a fuck.
I think
in
it
South
fucking
Carolina.
sucks there.
There are a lot of people who don't give
gross.
a fuck. There are a lot of people who don't give a fuck in South Carolina.
Last time I was in Charleston, I was in a Home Depot getting some materials for a job. Because I work in the construction field.
And the aliens invaded.
No, there was a guy, it was like a young black man.
I love how our topics are always sort of like, it's sort of like the topic, but it's also sort of like whatever the fuck we end up talking about.
So this young guy, like he's kind of like fucking hot footing it past me. He's really like kind of like he's like jogging a little bit, like, and I'm just pushing a cart, getting drywall or some shit. And the guy looks at me. He looks at me and kind of like does like a smirk, like a smile with like big eyes, kind of like a and like runs past. I'm like, that's odd. I continue getting my shit, and about 13, 14 seconds later, like 4 police officers run into Home Depot and start looking around like, hey, anybody see this guy? And I kept my mouth shut because I'm not some fucking snitch. I don't know what this guy did. He looked fun. He looked funny. He looked like a funny guy trying to have fun.
He looked like a funny guy trying to have fun.
He was just enjoying himself. I was like, whoa. He had like a real, like, I'm a little stinker face, you know? He's just,
I mean, I wouldn't have said anything because fuck Home Depot.
yeah, right? Like these cops come in and like somebody's like, yeah, I went down there, and they like fucking they book it down the way. Guy comes around another area and he like looks around and go, whoop, and then comes back and chases the cops.
What?
Because I think what he was thinking was if he stays behind him,
they won't be able to There's no way they'll look behind him.
And I watched this guy, I swear, like I kind of like backed out with my cart and like stood somewhere, and like the people at the counter too were also just like watching, and it was like this bizarre Scooby-Doo Bugs Bunny fucking pseudo chase thing. And I looked at this guy behind the counter, and I was like, you don't look very surprised by any of this. And the guy goes, oh, this is North Charleston, man. And I still to this day don't know how to take that.
Don't either.
It's like, yeah, we get fucking comedy whodunit crimes all the time. Like our criminals here are wily.
We got fun little jesters skipping around the store all the time.
We got little stinkers in here all the time.
I'll just hide behind you. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Oh. So you were talking about the governmental people who have come out and sort of talked about it. Did you see the whole thing, the whole like congressional meeting with the guy, the like Pentagon guy that was
Patrick, I was talking about the Department of Defense All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office report on the historical record of U.S. government involvement with unidentified anomalous phenomena, Volume 1.
How many volumes are there?
I don't know. I haven't researched that well.
Well,
more? There's more than what?
Apparently, because if that's Volume 1, why would you
a lot
name
of
it Volume 1 if
anomalous
there's a Volume
shit
2?
out there.
Well, so this guy got in front of Congress to talk about UAPs. Retired Major David Grunch. His last name's Grunch.
Grunch?
His last name's Grunch.
They're coming for us.
If you
Hey, mama!
if you've listened to
Mama, we got that old Grunch. He coming in report on a UFO.
if you listen to our
He come out the swamp gas.
our cryptids episode prior to this, you will learn about the Grunch, and it's really fucking crazy that this guy's last name is Grunch.
It's one might say that it was preordained. Gotta.
You go down there to the end of that road, I'll tell you what, you ain't gonna make it. You gonna die, shit, that Grunt gonna get you.
The alien got him.
The alien got him.
That's my favorite. That's our mascot, I think. We're like Boudreaux's neighbor. No, Boudreaux's neighbor. That like Boudreaux died.
That Kashima got
You
him.
got him. The alien, you got that swamp gas got him.
That's Boudreaux's fucking neighbor, Abear. Yeah,
A-Bear?
Abear. It's spelled Hebert. A lot of people don't know that that's
A-Bear.
Abear.
A-Bear. Okay,
Yeah.
that's it. That's our mascot.
Hebert.
A-Bear the coon ass.
You can't just throw out terms like that. People might not have listened to that
If you would like
episode.
context for coon ass, please see our episode on North American cryptids. Volume 1.
Volume 1.
Specifically Florida, Louisiana, and Michigan.
Specifically the Louisiana portion of that.
Specifically listen to the middle 30 minutes. I think it was the 30 minute to the 50 minute mark.
As a native Louisianian, I can tell you that there's nothing intrinsically racist about that term.
Nothing intrinsic. You had to give the qualifier.
You could figure out a way to make it racist if you tried hard enough. What I'm saying is that it's not meant to be that way.
The more that we insist on that, the worse it becomes.
I guess.
Moving on.
I guess. So Major Grunch.
Major Grunch.
It's funny because I think even though we didn't
Was the,
spend
the
a lot
Grunch
of
was like the
time-
wolf man, right?
No, the Grunch was the fucking all the little critters that would like pull you into the woods and kill you.
Oh, cool, tight.
Yeah. It started with Grunch Road. Remember,
the
like
leader.
old New Orleans. Oh,
He's the leader of the Grunches, Major Grunch.
he's a major Grunch.
You're a major Grunch, Grandpa.
But so he sat before the House Oversight Committee. I guess he was part of the Pentagon's UAP task force, and he basically said that like he knows exact locations of UAPs in U.S. possession. By the way, you can go on the internet and watch the whole subcommittee hearing.
Yeah, no, that's the craziest shit. With conspiracy theories have gotten so wild and intense lately, specifically because the
government basically said, yeah, maybe.
well, there's that, but like the internet was it was a fucking breeding ground for all this conspiracy shit. You know, and that's where you get your 4chans and your subreddits and all the wacky shit that people start flipping out about because the videos are all there.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you get your manipulated videos or your fake
which is a big thing because now
Huge
with
problem,
AI,
yeah.
I mean, there's going to be so many videos out there like, "Oh my god, we got,
like,
you know,
fucking how long ago was the movie District 9? Like, it was like 15 years ago, right?
Yeah.
It looks so realistic still to this day, to this level. It's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Before that, you know, in AOL times, people were dropping alien videos that looked super realistic. Before that, people were doing fucking, you know, handmade, special effects videos with aliens and shit that looked super fucking realistic.
What's the M. Night Shyamalan movie with the aliens?
Signs.
Signs, yeah. Remember that one fucking dude? That scene's
The scene where the fucking alien just walks like, through the corner.
Where he walks, and the Brazilian. By the way, that shit pissed me off.
And that was, but that right there in that movie, when that happens, that is a fucking comment on how the internet was like proliferating.
That fucking scene where he walks across the fucking driveway there, like, dude, I remember the first time I saw that, and I was like, every fucking hair on my, because it looks so realistic, like home video sort of footage. I'm
glad that we got a Shyamalan in here. I didn't write anything down for Signs, but I'm glad that came out.
Yeah. It looked so fucking crazy. I was like, oh my god, dude, what would it be like to be watching the news and see that footage? You know,
well, that's, you know,
especially because that footage was supposed to come from Brazil, and I'm Brazilian, even though they had him like speaking like some Spanish, Portuguese, English hybrid
with like an accordion behind it. Just
well, the other thing that pisses me off, by the way, the show that's popular at the moment on Hulu, Shogun.
Oh yeah, that show sucks.
That takes place in Edo period or post Edo period.
Yeah, you like how the main character is a white guy? What the fuck is going on?
The main character is a white guy
who's supposed to be Portuguese.
He's English, but he speaks Portuguese. And some of the Japanese people speak, the main female character speaks Portuguese because Portugal has set up sort of trading posts in Japan, and they're the only country that's done it.
Right.
And they've kept it off the map because they want to sort of, you know, like
own it.
They want to be the only ones trading there. And so much of that show is in Japanese, which lends it a degree of authenticity. I think I really hate when I may have railed against this in the past, and if I haven't, you'll hear me rail about it in the future. Speaking in a British accent does not lend anything authenticity. You know, 300, just make it in Greek. Just fucking make it in Greek. You what you think that people are so fucking stupid that they're gonna go, oh yeah, those guys were all speaking English with English accents. Like, here's the thing: if you're not gonna make it in the language, right? You have American actors. Somebody has to be telling them, well, speaking in an English accent, so it sounds authentic. Like, what the fuck?
I actually don't think so. I think it's more of a case of like, well, all right, so you're gonna be playing like this Portuguese guy, and we're gonna be, you know, you're speaking Portuguese with air quotes, you know, and then.
But we're gonna make all those parts.
You know,
English.
Remember, whatever you're saying is not your actual language.
All the other parts of the movie are in the language of the place where we are. So but then when you guys switch to Portuguese, we'll just make that in English.
We can try this.
What the fuck kind of sense does that make?
We can figure this out real quick. I bet you I can tell you exactly how this works. Okay.
Yeah.
So what you do is, you just ask me, or you tell me, hey Riley, say something in English,
Yeah.
but act like you're saying it in Portuguese.
Riley, I want you to say these words in English, but act like you're speaking Portuguese. Say, the sausage has all been eaten by the dogs, and now their poop is on the walls.
The sausage has all been eaten by the dog, and now the poop is on the wall.
Italian or Greek or something.
I mean, just any swarthy, sweaty, hairy brown person.
Well, no, but they're all speaking in English accents.
No, you know what that was? Is Quado from The Phantom Menace. That was. And the dog ate the sausage, and now the little Annie.
All I'm saying is that
I'm a
there's this,
Toydarian. My tricks don't work on me.
all I'm saying is that there's this whole thing in like cinema where there's somehow this like strange quote unquote authenticity that speaking in an English accent lends to things. And so it's like, you know, like I just mentioned, the movie 300, stick with Greek. The movie Troy, Brad Pitt, the main character, speaking in an English accent.
I mean, I know exactly what that is. You know where that comes from.
Not only that, fantasy movies, right? Fantasy films have tons of English actors. Fucking Viggo Mortensen in Lord of the Rings, speaking in a British accent the whole time. It's like, we're in a fantasy world with goddamn golems and dragons and fucking goddamn it.
Just shut the fuck up, okay? Hold on a second. It's really loud. I'm wearing headphones. No, like, you know, that
Makes me angry.
It's very specific where that comes from. It's really easy to understand if you just think about when movies came into play. You know, like the early 1900s, right? We're fucking watching movies pretty heavily.
Are you going to blame this all on Vincent Price or something?
No.
Okay.
No, Vincent Price, I'm a big fan, actually.
You should.
And he spoke in an accent, but it can't really be.
It was not. It was a strange amalgamation of like
Vincent Price
American and
like
English.
James Mason and some other guys. They just had this fucking like, yes.
Is it?
I suppose it
Yeah,
is
and it's
British.
like it's not English though, really.
Yeah, no, it's weird. But
It's like a weird. Okay, go
fucking
ahead.
movies come out in the early 1900s, right? So by the time we're pumping big ass epics in fucking Hollywood, you know, you've got your 1920s silent films, the fucking DB, what the fuck, DeMille, and all these other guys doing movies like big epics, whatever. And you know, then in the 50s and 60s, you're doing like the big Jesus epics, or you're doing Cleopatra, or you're doing Ben-Hur, or shit like that, okay? So that's only 50 years from when they start doing the fucking movies, and it's only 30 years from when they were silent. So the only actors that were acting for shit at the time were not necessarily just British, but the only plays that people, not the only ones, but like the majority of the plays people were watching were usually like fucking Shakespeare, or they were being trained by the like Royal Shakespearean Theatre, or they're coming from fucking Canadian Shakespeare programs. Like fucking, what's his name? Shatner. The reason Shatner talks like this is that he was trained to do that for Shakespeare with the fucking pentameter shit.
Yeah.
So you get the best of the best Shakespearean actors, like fucking Laurence Olivier and fucking shit like that, and they come in and they've got the big British accents, blah blah blah. So you cast this fucking guy who's famous for acting. He's famous for acting on the stage. To like, cast him, put him in the fucking movie. He gets put in the movie. He's the big actor. He's got the British accent. They cast him as Pontius Pilate, or they cast him as Caesar, or they cast him as some shit like that. So the collective consciousness of American cinema, you think like, oh, historical epics are all of their accents are populated by British.
God, it
folk.
pisses me off.
So that's still kicking. That's just we're just doing fucking plays off of Ben-Hur and shit.
It makes me very angry.
Spartacus. Which is funny because that's the only one where not British guys like, I am Spartacus.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like, if you're not going to make it historically accurate, then why the fuck not just let the actor speak in whatever fucking accent they have, right? If you're not going to make a movie that takes place in ancient Greece all in Greek, then
I want to see that movie. I do want to see that movie.
I would love to see but part of the issue is that goddamn Americans are lazy and they don't want to fucking, you know how many people I know is like, I don't want to read them fucking subtitles. Like, then don't watch the movie, cocksucker. Or learn to read faster.
Fair. I mean, like, I prefer to watch I'm a special character. I prefer to watch my subtitled movies with subtitles.
I watch a ton of subtitles.
Always the subs, never the dubs. That's how I feel.
Same.
Anyway, we fucking digress like fucking crazy right now.
We're way off.
We're way off fucking topic.
But that was Grunch. So you can watch that whole subcommittee hearing.
Well,
it's called the Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena, Implications on National Security, Public Safety, and Government Transparency. This guy went off for like a couple of hours talking about how
that's the same report I was just talking about.
Oh, really?
The Department of Defense All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office.
Yeah. This
Report on the historical record of U.S. government involvement in unidentified anomalies.
Yeah, this was last year, July, I think. He also
this report was just published in March of 2024.
Okay, yeah. So the actual hearing was from, I believe, July of 23.
Damn, your case and my case are the same fucking case.
You got peanut butter on my chocolate.
You got chocolate on my peanut butter.
So he alleged, for one, he said that he knew exact locations of UAPs in U.S. possession. So he knew exactly which bases they had UAPs that they were studying. Mm-hmm. And he also claims that the U.S. has retrieved, quote, non-human biological matter from the pilots of the crafts, adding, quote, this was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the UAP program I talked to that are currently still on with the program.
Like bodies, like alien bodies?
Alien bodies is, I think, what...
It's either that or
what
it's,
he's alluding
or it's cum. It's either bodies or cum.
Alien cum.
Yeah, it's either that biological matter.
Fucking bright green, oozing jizz all through those things.
I think it'd be like...
When you're an alien and you crash your vessel, you cum immediately. I think is what we've discovered.
Out of navel.
Out of all your
go,
alien pores. All your alien pores.
And you bounce
just
on your
ooze
spring
with
legs.
Jizz.
I don't know. The aliens are fucking... You don't know what the fucking alien looks like. There's a... boing, boing, boing. Like a curly Q wieners that they bounce on top of.
Oh my God, that's fucking hot as shit.
Oh yeah. Boing, boing. Boing harder for me, baby.
There was also last year, do you remember the Las Vegas thing? The sighting in Las Vegas?
I do not. No, I don't know that one.
There's some family called, and they called 911 saying that like an alien craft landed in their backyard, and there were like 9 or 10 foot fucking aliens in the craft in their backyard.
10-foot aliens?
I mean, it might have been a big craft, but like the police came out and everything. I think there might have been a video. I don't know if there was a video of the actual UAP. It's so hard for me not to say UFO.
Why don't you just say UFO?
It's UAP.
We don't work for any governmental agencies.
True.
I can say whatever the fuck. I want to say UFO.
Okay. I kind of do want to do that.
I'll say spaceship. I'll say alien spacecraft.
Flying saucer. You see how it lends it credibility when I say it in
immediately.
a British accent? Immediately, you're like, that guy knows what he's talking about.
When I talk about the past, I got to talk like this, see?
You just sound like a 1930s reporter.
That's it. That's because that's what I'm doing. Out here in Grover's Mill, we've got some sort of a 3-legged creature. It's spraying some sort of flaming foam.
But when I just say, there was a flying saucer in a backyard.
That just sounds like David Attenborough trying to... As we observed the aliens...
The neighbors called the police because there was a flying saucer in their backyard.
The 10-foot aliens you can see are
they were
much larger.
They were 3 meters in height. You got to change it to meters too when you talk that way. But anyway, so cops showed up. Apparently, there was also like a something fell from the sky that night. So there was like some bright glowing object. It might have been like a satellite falling back to Earth, or I don't know if it was a comet or what the hell it was.
Chunk of meteor.
But so these cops were all freaked out because there is actually like body cam footage of whatever this bright glowing object that fell out of the sky is, and then they pretty much immediately get a call. About 40 minutes later, a local resident placed a 911 call to report that something, quote, 100% not human, was how they put it, was staring at him.
That doesn't seem like a very scientific synopsis. It could be 3% human.
Was staring at him.
Show me a fucking blob of goo. That might 3 to 10% human. I don't know.
Apparently, in the 2018 movie The Predator, not Predator, The Predator.
That movie is dope as fuck. Actually, I love that movie.
starring Olivia Munn, who I love with all my heart.
Love her. Just had a double mastectomy.
Did she really?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Battle with cancer.
That sucks.
Our heart goes out to Olivia.
She
You've always
recently
been
had a
big fan.
child too.
Yeah, with John Mulaney.
Was the child? I don't think the child was his. Was it?
I think so.
I think she had the baby and then they
pretty
started
sure.
dating. Maybe it was
Click,
his.
clack, click, clack. Here we go.
So, yeah, they said that there was a 100% not human entity staring at him from his backyard shortly after him and his family saw an object fall from the sky. So 40 minutes after this object falls from the sky, the police, is it John Mulaney's baby?
Yeah, they had a baby together in November of 2021.
Good for them.
Yeah. Well, he was in the depths of a massive drug addiction and
Yeah, and like rehab and shit. Yeah.
cheating on his wife.
Yeah, weird.
But-
I mean, it's Olivia Munn. How do you say no? God.
My wife is going to listen to this podcast.
So you're not going to make it.
I'm not going to say a single fucking thing. I will say I'm a huge fan of the newsroom.
My girlfriend's going to listen to this podcast and be like, I wouldn't be happy about it, but yeah, I get it.
Listen, I'll say this. God,
Olivia Munn's a Stone Cold Fox.
She's Stone Cold Fox.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to this comment is sleazy just in itself, but even post double mastectomy, that babe can get it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like fuck.
Okay. Let's bring it back to reality, which is neither of us will ever even be like have to deal with that conflict in
Why
our
don't you
brains.
shut your fucking horn mouth and ask for your input on my fucking
Neither
life?
of us will ever even get the opportunity to have to deliberate on that fucking idea of
Deliberate
do I
on that
stay,
later.
Do I stay or do I go with Olivia Munn?
It'd be kind of a, hey babe, do you want to maybe tag along?
Yeah, pretty much. Honey, it's Olivia Munn.
Like, oh come on, no. All right, anyway, yeah, she might be an alien. Because that ass is out of this world. You get what I'm saying? Bing, bingo, bongo, ayo. High five. Yeah,
was a high- you guys
misogyny.
just heard
Jesus Christ.
It's not misogyny if she's asking for it.
All right, cut that. Delete that one. Delete that joke has to go away.
If it's not misogyny, if she's like, hey, baby, come give it to me. I'm Olivia Munn. Have you seen The Newsroom?
I have. I love the news.
How about Attack of the Show?
Actually, I've never watched Attack of the Show.
Really? That's when I originally fell in love with
She's
that
so
girl.
fucking good in the newsroom. All right, can we get
is.
off of the Olivia Munn
Fine.
tangent?
So anyway, cops came out. They didn't find 8, 10 foot, whatever the hell, aliens in the back. It just didn't happen. And that sucks. What you looking up there, bud?
Nothing.
Is it Olivia Munn?
Maybe.
Oh my God! You insisted we get off the Olivia
I
Munn
wasn't
thing.
gonna
You're looking
say
her up.
anything. I'm not gonna say it.
You're just trying to look at her.
Is it a crime that I look at Munn?
Look at Munn. Well, if it makes you feel any better, on my computer screen, there's an ad right up at the top with 3 very elderly, super buff dudes.
Hell yeah.
It's creeping me out.
Okay, all right. Okay, so you're talking about the grunge over there. I want to bring up another guy.
I'm talking
Actually-
about. Are you talking about retired Major Grunch?
Retired Major Grunge, yeah. The grunge, we're going to call him the grunge.
Well, okay.
'Cause it
It's
seems
just
like-
confusing because we had another
Well, it
podcast
just seems like
with
the
Grunch.
cryptid grunge is more of the grunge collective. It's not a singular grunge.
Yeah, no, it's a herd of grunge.
Herd of grunge, the grunge.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this one's the grunge. It's like he's grunching it.
I'm about to fucking grunch in my pants if you don't shut up.
But okay, no. So the world's highest ranking alien believer, or you could say conspiracy theorist, is former Canadian Defense Minister Paul Hellyer.
Okay.
Paul Hellyer came out very publicly. I want to say, having trouble finding the exact date, but it was within the past like 10 years.
Okay.
Came out very, very publicly as saying, and we're not talking about like he's an old man, sure, but not somebody who seemed to be lacking in his capacity for mental.
I'll give it to you. You
prowess.
could be an old man. I'm going to ding more points off him because he's Canadian. I mean, you know, that's...
Please don't insult our family to the north. I'm a big fan of the Canadians. Love a Canuck. Rick Moranis, like fuck. Literally, anytime anybody has anything bad to say about Canadians, I mention Rick Moranis.
Yeah, I think my go-to is John Candy.
John Candy's good too. They work together. SCTV,
great.
big fan.
Yeah.
In fact, I want to say that the upcoming horror host episode, I am inspired from another Canadian great.
Don't drop hints as to future episodes.
Anyway,
Or do.
an
whatever.
upcoming episode, I'm dedicating to the late great Joe Flaherty, who is another co-star on SCTV.
Okay.
With John Candy and Rick Moranis.
Catherine O'Hara.
Catherine O'Hara as well, and
Eugene Levy.
and a really hilarious woman.
Phil Hartman. Was it Phil Hartman?
No,
I see?
no, Phil Hartman. That's
He was Groundlings?
He was a Groundlings SNL guy.
Okay. Well,
But-
they all came from a thing before.
There's always,
SNL.
there's
Almost
always,
all of them.
there's always a Groundlings. There's
He
always
he was probably Groundlings.
fucking Second City is a big deal. Second City Chicago was
Yep.
huge for Canadian shit. And anyway, so yeah, another one of those contemporaries. So don't fuck with Canada. But anyway, so the former
I will fuck with Canada.
Canadian Defense Minister Paul Hellyer very publicly said that not only do all world governments work closely with aliens, he has personally met and like conversed with alien life.
That just sounds insane.
He is coming out and doing it. He's saying it all the time. He was Canadian Prime Minister, or not Canadian Defense Minister for like 20 years.
I'm just saying that sounds insane.
Sounds fucking bonkers, right? But he's doing it.
That every world leader.
That is his shit.
See, here's my thing with like.
He says aliens live among us.
Here's my thing with like conspiracy theories in general. What are the odds? You start looking at, okay, these UFO sightings and things like that gained a lot of popularity.
Paul Hellyer, who's long insisted that aliens have visited Earth for many years, says that when aliens saw the atomic bomb, they decided that we were a great threat to the cosmos.
Okay, so since the 40s.
And refused to fuck with us
Okay,
after that.
so since the 40s.
Yeah.
Right? He is saying that every major company, Jesus Christ, every major country since the mid 40s has been aware of / met with / conversed with interplanetary beings.
Apparently, 4 different species of aliens have been visiting Earth for thousands of years. Proof of alien presence is overwhelming, and science itself is at fault for dismissing it.
What I'm saying, though, is that, like, what are the odds that you're talking about thousands, if not tens of thousands of people now being aware of this, and nobody's cracked under the pressure? Nobody's told a loved one or a child or had a deathbed confession or written a memoir.
Hellyer is
or
very staunch.
Everybody's just stayed steadfast.
Hellyer is very staunch in suggesting that there are Edward Snowden-esque whistleblowers who've already revealed government knowledge of alien visits. It doesn't take long to get your hands on it, he said. Which I will say, if you're following that track, yeah, that's what it looks like. If you're the person who's like, fucking, the truth is out there and they're keeping it from us, of course.
I guess so.
I mean, but that's how these things proliferate. That's the fucking whole thing about conspiracy shit. When it's completely unproven, it's untested, you get some weird evidence, you can fucking mishmash it in, whatever, and then you saying, yeah, they're lying to you, is the proof that people need to be like, fuck yeah, because they're a bunch of lying fucks, which they are a bunch of lying fucks, so you gotta sympathize.
You know what? You can't. But
and then
half
they
the
come
time
out and they
people
say,
can't even,
yeah, we're a bunch of lying fucks.
half
Here's
the
the
time
real
people
stuff.
can't even define who they are. It's always them, but who the fuck are they? You know what I mean? Like, it's hard for me to get behind any sort of conspiracy theory type shit. And don't get me wrong, there are some things where shit's real shady, but like, the reality is most people aren't that fucking clever.
Apparently,
And people like to talk. There's so many fucking people. I don't like to talk. I'll keep a fucking secret till the grave.
You don't like to talk, huh?
Not to strangers.
Is that why we bought all this equipment? You don't
And then I said not to strangers, which is pretty much
You don't want to
exclusively.
talk to strangers, so that's why we put all this equipment together. That's why we're in this fucking room.
Listen,
Is that why I drove an hour to get here?
I don't. I have one neighbor out of like, Lord knows how many that I've ever spoken to. I don't like to talk to people. This is just me talking to you, and then a bunch of people get to listen to it.
Apparently, some of these aliens are tall Nordic blondes, and some are short grays.
Tall Nordic blondes.
Yeah, the
That's weird.
Swedes apparently are, according to former Canadian.
You know,
Defense Minister Paul
I never
Hellyer.
finished making my point about the movie The Predator with Olivia Munn. I don't know if you recall, but
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. We
the Predator
forgot the topic once we dropped
has like
Munn.
something like 3% human DNA.
Interesting. I could see that.
You
'cause-
don't remember that part?
No, I don't.
It was like at the beginning when they capture
We got like a long divergent ancestor.
when
somewhere.
they capture him and they bring him to the thing, and they're like, oh my god, he's got human
That's
DNA.
pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, well, it is. It's a movie, so
Okay. Now I've got another topic to kind of bring. I think we can skip. We can skip the movies. Let's do a quick little recap. Throughout the 80s and 90s, there was a massive amount of fucking just alien ass movies and TV series. In the 80s, you had V, you had Aliens in
80s
America.
and 90s are a lot.
V, if you remember, was an alien invasion show that went on for several seasons. That was just about an uprising of humans against alien invaders that were like lizard people that like walked among us. And then there was another one, Aliens in America, that was really fucking cool actually. That was about aliens that were literally just immigrants.
I don't.
So that there were like space aliens living on Earth with us, just kind of fucking trying to do it. And it's all the hate crimes and fucking people trying to work in tandem and shit like that. And that's a fucking cool show. But then, coming out of the 60s and 70s with so many, Mork and Mindy. Alf, ever heard of him? It means alien life form. My favorite Martian,
to
just all
feast on
shit
cats.
like that. I had so many, I had a whole list. Alien, Aliens, They Live, Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension, Cocoon,
Predator.
fucking Batteries Not Included,
Predator
Killer
2.
Clowns from Outer Space, Little Shop of Horrors, Predator,
Yeah.
Enemy Mine. Lou Gossett Jr. just died the other day.
remember that one.
You don't know Enemy Mine? That's one of the better
remember
ones.
that one.
Dennis Quaid and Lou Gossett Jr. They're human and extraterrestrial in a space, like Earth and another planet, or in like a fucking cool future space war, and these two enemies crash land together on an uninhabitable planet, and they
Jesus.
work together to live, and it's fucking dope. It's a dope ass movie,
Did they make Lou Gossett the alien?
of course, and he's amazing.
Of course.
He's wearing prosthetics and shit. Fucking his whole face is all like a bunch of shit, and he just kills the role. And the whole thing is that he's like a non-gendered alien and has a baby on the planet, and then fucking Dennis Quaid is left to raise the baby. It's fucking cool. It's really cool.
Still
Cool
kind of
fucking movie,
offended
man.
that they make the black guy the alien.
He was a better actor than Dennis Quaid. That's all it was.
That is true.
I'm pretty fucking sure. And he crushes the role because he's like doing like weird vocal things. And
Really?
He's always like.
I don't remember that one.
It's a fucking cool movie. I think it's on like HBO.
There's a lot of fucking rad alien movies, particularly as you said, 80s and 90s were sort of like the heyday of that.
Yeah, but then so in the 90s you got the really cool TV shit with X-Files,
Yeah.
Twin Peaks, Third Rock from the Sun, Star Trek, Next Generation, Stargate, SG-1. There's just fucking and so many more. And then with
There's a
streaming
lot.
comes to
Yeah.
fucking all that. And then
There's a god awful movie with John Travolta.
fucking ooh, I know
can't
this
think
one.
of
It's
it.
the one. It's the one where he just like a meteor happens and
It
he gets
stars
real
something.
fucking smart.
No, the one where he's the alien.
John Travolta's an alien?
Battlefield.
Oh, Battlefield Earth.
yeah.
That ruined many
Terrible,
careers.
terrible
You remember
movie.
Barry?
God
Do
awful.
you remember Barry Pepper?
No.
Barry Pepper was the sniper in Saving Private Ryan.
Okay.
Thin guy, kind of gaunt.
Yeah.
Excellent actor. He's in a bunch of shit, and he's always like, I remember all through like the 90s, it was like, oh, fucking Barry Pepper. Cool. Like, because he's just a cool, weird actor that just jumps into out of nowhere, and you're like, he's going to do a great job. He was the star of Battlefield Earth, tanked his fucking career completely. Done.
Poor guy.
Popped up in like 2 movies after that. He's gone forever.
Poor fella.
That movie sucks dicks.
That movie is one of the worst. fucking
One of the
movies
worst.
ever.
But yeah, in the 90s, you get Men in Black, Independence Day, Contact, Species, Mars Attacks, which is a play off of like the 50s card collectors.
yep.
Sphere, The Abyss, The Faculty, Starship
Sphere.
Troopers, Coneheads, Predator 2. Like the fucking 90s,
Yeah.
all over the fucking place. And into the 2000s, I'm not doing it.
There's a bunch.
Because
Still.
with streaming and shit, like one of the easiest tropish things you can write is alien invasion stories. And they're everywhere.
They're fun.
They're fun.
You can't. I mean, I'm not.
You can't be. There are literally no rules for an alien invasion.
I
story.
watch a lot of them,
There's
and I enjoy
fucking-
most of them.
There's no rules for them.
Omit
Watching one right
Battlefield
now.
Earth from
Fucking
that.
3 Body Problem on Netflix. Working on right now. Sci-fi fucking rules.
Agreed.